What's going on, everybody? We're filming again. We're filming hang on. Not on camera yet. We're filming the tutorial. I'm gonna try and do this just because it's nice to do. Take the paint. Okay. And we're doing it with your boy Solaire. We're going to do how to paint iron armor. That's the theme for this one. Praise the sun. The sun guy, yeah. He's real big on the sun. He's a huge fan. Big fan. Sorry, still getting all my paint ready. But we're doing it from beginning to end because we're filming the whole thing. Which, by the way, that and the Onion Boy would also be really good. That might have been a better choice because he actually has more armor visible on him. But this is the model I have, so this is what we're going with. But let's finish getting ready. Just like the mouse, this is a beginning to end one. And then, just like I said before, the way that this works is I film this and then cut it up, make it into the long form and the short form, and post it on Tuesday typically. It might be Wednesday this week, but that's typically what the process is. Thinking about what to listen to during this. I need to figure out how to do my VOD settings correctly because last time I did this and I played regular music, I don't get any strikes or anything like that, but like more than half the stream got muted. The fat rat? Who's the fat rat? Okay. 1 second, let me just put the notification where everybody can see it. Ooh, that's a good Sigmire, Blood. Thank you for sending me that. That is an excellent Sigmire. I will get him. Okay. Maybe we should have maybe we should listen to like Dark Souls lore or something like that. It's not technically copyrighted, although I guess you could. I'll talk over it or something. Full Dark Souls lore. Where's Vati's video? Souls 1 full timeline. Does he have like a playlist or something like that? Let me see. "15 Secrets." Man, remember this? Dark Souls 3, Dark Souls, Soul Song. Wow. Super old stuff. Dark Souls lore. Here we go.
Pinwheel the Necromancer, who
Here's
stole
the full
the power
playlist.
of the Grave Lord, a mother. We see the struggle of others unfold around us as they fight for the things important to them.
He never made like the full... Did he ever make the full Dark Souls story?
Pinwheel the Necromancer, who stole the power of...
I feel like he did. Maybe he didn't. Or is it the Prepare to Cries? Maybe it is. That's okay. We can listen to the Prepare to Cries.
It's been a long time since we came to Lordran. In the years since, we've
Channel name so you don't get strike.
together. We've told
We're gonna do an
stories of
autistic
gods
deep dive.
and
Oh, do I need to?
we know how it ends. Not with fire.
Do I need to like list his name
with the abyss as Gwyn feared.
in the
With ash, a
in
painted
the title of the
and a dark soul.
in the title of the video
Man
of
was
our
born in
video?
the dark.
I guess
Soul
probably
that is
do.
kindled, flickers, dwindles, and dies in the shadow of his gods. The human
I can do
form
that,
is
that's
fragile,
easy.
And death comes quickly. but
Stream
the spirit is
summary.
strong, and it clings
Stream
to
manager,
life
let's
like
change the
only a mortal
name.
can. So in a way, man was not designed to become undead. Fear of death is what lets us live. Take that away, and humanity becomes hard to
VATTI
hold on to.
Vidya.
Without humanity, you could become more hollow than man. Yet, a hollow who would die for something has nothing to fear,
DAA.
for death
DI.
simply becomes a stepping stone to his goal. 5 years ago, we told 9 undead stories. One of the strongest man ever to make it to Anor Londo,
Done.
who simply fell
Okay.
from its rafters. Another
Now we're
a
safe.
sorcerer in pursuit of great knowledge,
Now,
who was undone
now we're
by the
safe.
secrets he found. For some treasures are not meant for men. And
Some
besides,
treasures.
even if you find the most powerful weapon in the world,
Okay.
there's no reason to think you can save those you love.
Let's get started.
Mankind will never escape the curse of the gods.
So for
So why not put your
iron
faith-
armor, it's fairly simple.
Perhaps if we offer up
Like, it's
our
very
humanity,
simple.
we may
It's a
receive their love.
few mixes
But
of
no,
stuff that we've already
there was
used
never any
before,
hope of that, was there?
but it is a
These were the
progression.
stories of fools who dared to believe in something greater, hoping.
Yes, we want to do this. We want to do this really,
Regrettably,
really
I have
well.
failed in my mission.
It's going to go from Ironclad
perhaps you
Gray
can take the
to
torch
Brigand Gray,
There is an old saying
and there's going to be a
in my
mix.
family,
No, we're not using metallics today. We don't have the,
undead asylum.
we have a
Make
sterling
pilgrimage to the
silver
world of ancient lords.
true metallic
Ring the
metal,
bell of awakening
but that's not the one that we need.
of the
We're going to do a non-metallic metal for this one. But
If you
for
fall
maybe
down
when we do
seven times,
Sigismund,
stand up 8.
eventually we will do a true
Just
metallic
the only
metal.
undead.
But this is the non-metallic metal version.
For the
So
most
we're going to do that.
Theirs were the stories we told. But it's not just the undead who have stories worth telling. For in the years since, we've learned more about their lords than ever before. There are 5 stories I want to bring to you.
So first we're going to do
The first is the tale
the
of
base coat of the
chaotic civilization
Ironclad Gray.
doomed to fade.
9 minutes in, finally silver and actually...
A lord who lost his domain
Yeah.
of death to gods and men.
Thank you.
I could think of at least one who would have preferred death to...
I'm talking to people on Twitch
There's the
sorry.
story of a soul
I don't have
that
chat
persisted
on
throughout the ages.
because I'm filming this for a video.
Fearful god.
So normally we would have chat up in the top
These are the
right.
stories that enthralled millions of us for years, and it's a privilege to bring them to you one last time.
But because I'm filming, I need the entire canvas. So on Saturdays, we film the tutorial making process. Oh, would you prefer just like music? We can do that way.
In Gwyn's Age of Fire, there were 4 knights who distinguished themselves above all others. First, there was Hawkeye Goth, who fought in the First War against the dragons. He exulted in the thrill of the hunt, plucking dragons out of the sky with his enormous greatbow.
That character was really cool, by the way.
Soon, the only dragons left were in his memories, which he revisited endlessly. Fighting on the ground.
But if you don't like it, we can switch to just music.
He wielded
Just some. Some Animal Crossing music. I really do love this ironclad gray, though, by the way. It has a great shade. Thank you, Andrew. Well, if we prefer the lore, we'll listen to the lore instead.
a long, lightning cross spear that could be stamped deep into a stone dragon's hide. Its curious design went on to remind many of an exiled god of war, though none of them dared to speak his name. And then there was Kiran.
Ornstein and Smaug.
Considerably from the previous
Excellent character background characters told only through the item descriptions. Oh man.
In the Age of Fire to follow. She dazzled her foes with streaks of gold in the night, and then stung with the vicious poison of her silver trace.
What an amazing initial thought process. Happy Souls? What is that? Oh wait, yes. By Plague of Gripes. Yeah. Fantastic.
Like the dark soul of man filled the Lord of Light with fear, for one day, Gwyn knew, the fire would fade and humanity would inherit the world. His world. So while he still had time and power, Gwyn began to rig the world in his favor. Mankind had stood amongst those
Each time you hear those two, yeah.
Dragons,
They had a good intro.
in thanks, Gwyn bestowed upon pygmies and men the ringed city, an enormous gilded city located.
I haven't watched Plague of Gripes in a long time. I wonder what wonder what his last video was. I haven't looked it up.
An immortal archdragon that was raised by the gods. Below,
Not in a while.
Gwyn's youngest daughter, the princess Filianor,
I don't remember. So there's like chainmail under here.
who Gwyn
We might do that in more of a blue.
until the very
It's more silvery,
and at first
but it's still going to have the same base coat. It's just going to have different mixes going up from here.
But in the end, it was just a trick of the light. The walls were not for protection. The dragon had an eternal duty to battle the dark, and Gwyn's daughter, Filianor, would never see her father again.
But we're doing all the initial
So the ringed city was
base coating is the same.
holders of the original Dark Soul. It was to
This
imprison
ironclad gray.
like a ring of fire that encircles the darkness of humanity. And man was, in fact, branded with this very seal, the dark sign. And despite clear evidence of their heroism in the
Something
war
that
against the
makes this
dragons,
model a little easier is that it's got very clear cylindrical shapes,
so it's no wonder then
like this.
all of the spellcraft and the
This leg
stem
is not very intricate.
one thing remains constant.
It's got like 3 literal cylinders, like bam, 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 which is going to make it really easy to
Perhaps the first
make non-metallic metal.
was the Mad King. He was pygmy royalty, and he rebelled against the light. We have no idea what crimes he committed, but they must have been terrible, for he was put to death by Shira, a knight of Filianor. Only the Mad King would not die, and Shira, with the Mad King impossibly entwined around her spear, had no choice but to hold him quietly in a dark room until the end of time.
Gonna wait till next edition.
There were, of course, other
Dark Angels would be cool.
city.
They're definitely one of my favorite factions.
Londo, which was governed by 4
I like the idea of secret society knights.
The kings were renowned for their foresight, and they even had fragments.
Because they're probably the most like, other than the Black Templars, like the most monastic, you know, like secret
Another trigger point. For what lies at the top of New Londo,
Legion of Knightly Order people.
of undead sacrifice.
I mean, their whole aesthetic is that they're
So no human city was permitted to flourish without a clear
like Arthur Knights.
and there was no better example of this than another human city called
I mean, there's a couple factions. The Grey Knights are the other super secret monastic
can be
ones, but they're the magic ones. They're the wizards,
hide your intent,
the wizard knights.
even mess with the fabric of time. And spells of this nature
Maybe the anti-wizards.
coming years, so Ulasil flourished, an exemplary city for Gwyn's pantheon, because it was proof that humanity could be taught to serve their interests. And so
The Shark Marines.
a group
That'd
of
be cool.
missionaries from Ulasil embarked upon the ringed city, perhaps to preach
I'm excited to hear about what the new rules are going to be
of the light in this dark city.
and how approachable the game will be.
Half-light, and he was a talented individual who was wielding the powerful artifacts of his homeland. He would go on to earn the favor of Filianor, and he would even
Alpha Legion, yeah, Alpha Legion can literally be every legion. Alpha Legion is every legion
elected to stay behind, becoming the last
already.
spear of the church. And just as Half-Light visited the ringed city and even stayed behind, the reverse was also true of a certain pygmy from the ringed city. This pygmy's name was Manus. And while we know nothing about the nature of his visit to Ulasil,
That's also what makes them cool, is that no matter how high up in the secret
Manus,
echelons or the
far beneath the city
most
itself,
entrenched members of the Legion, they could still be Alpha Legion.
much
Like the most staunch Dark Angel of Dark Angels could still be Alpha Legion
a pygmy far from home.
in the end.
He was a part of a race that Gwyn was doing everything in his power to suppress. And when you think on Manus's fate, it's kind of hard to imagine that Gwyn didn't have
To
a
paint
hand in it,
something.
especially since
Hello
he
there.
had an order of assassins.
Yes.
Lord's Blades in his employ. The leader of the Lord's Blades was Kidan, the Hornet. It still
Regards from Panama. Wow. Very cool. I don't know that I've ever had anybody from the Panama Republic
killed Manus,
watch.
but
But welcome, Mr. Plaminard.
assassins, isn't it? Whatever the case, the tide was turning. Mankind was struggling against the world order.
Great to have you here.
Londo, which was once a haven for undead, had turned into a hideous spawning ground for the abyss and its dark.
You know what else I love about Solaire is that they make him look paunchy. They give him a little paunch
Four kings
just to make him.
its undead knights how to pillage.
Yes, the real Panama, not Panama, Florida.
Legends even say the dark wraiths became the most human of all, but to others,
The dark wraiths are the enemies of man, and any living thing that has a soul.
so as the age of man crept ever closer, yet another knight of Gwyn appeared, perfectly equipped to face it, the great Knight Artorius.
No, I gotcha.
With a great sword weighted to strike harder against servants of the dark, a great wolf who defined their fighting style, and a covenant with the beasts of the abyss, Knight Artorius and...
By the way, if you're curious on who I'm talking to, I have everybody on Twitch
Yet,
in another chat. I don't have chat displayed on screen because we're filming. This stream is specifically being recorded to be cut up into a tutorial.
Resilience of their abyss.
How's the canal doing? Yeah.
A safety measure had been put in place years ago, and so the sealers of New Londo watched stoically as water rushed into the city and thousands of innocents died by their hand.
The entire city was sacrificed to contain them.
Still filled with water.
How great a threat they were.
But while Gwyn did manage to put the New Londo threat on hold, no one was
All
prepared
right.
for the outbreak. In order
Initial base coat of the
when they figured out that a
ironclad gray.
beneath their
Like it's just about done.
the temptation must have been too great to resist.
I don't want to do
Believe it or not.
the other colors quite yet. I want to completely do the chainmail and the iron armor first, because it's going to be pretty difficult to get to these other spots, and it's going to be easier to just be careful painting them around the iron armor than trying to paint, say, the cloth and then come back to the iron armor. Plus, it helps with the sequencing of the video. But we can do a couple small things, like I will do the feather really quick, just so that we can have that color blocked out. The member, the Emperor is actually an Alpha Legionnaire. Yeah, exactly. If something in the lore said that, you couldn't actually refute it. I mean, I guess you could. I'm just being... He did find Alfarius first. That's true.
Could these thoughts belong to the beast from the abyss? But if that were true, then perhaps it is no beast after all.
The object of his obsession was
That is true.
with it in our possession. We're pulled back to a time where all appears lost.
Well, look at this one. From what faraway age hast thou come? Thy scent is very human indeed, but not intolerable. I am Elizabeth, guardian.
There we go. Now he's got his little plume, his little identifying mark. Okay. Let's think about this just for a second. So we need to identify where the objects of light are going to be, and we're going to cheat. We're going to use the photo trick, just as we always do. And I'll show you.
But fighting dark wraiths is considerably different to the power of
We turn the contrast way down, or way up, sorry.
and was forced to retreat. Beset
We make
the final act of
the photo
to protect his companion. He shielded Sif
like this.
power of
Drop
his
it.
shield. After all, his arm was broken, and he could no longer bear the burden. Then Artorias himself was overcome.
And then let's turn the filters on black and white.
Knight Artorias,
That's a good way to do this.
but such a hero has nary a murmur of doubt.
And then we can also
Doubt he will be swallowed by the abyss.
turn the contrast
Utter blackness. Indeed,
way up.
this may be unstoppable.
All was lost.
And this will show us where all the most
Soon after the
pointed
spread of the abyss
points of light are, where we can use to apply all the highlights later.
wandered out
And that's exactly what we're going to do.
Artorias'
So this is our reference
into legend.
for this from now on.
Gave his life to
And we can do that for even the cloth, but especially the chainmail, the boots, and the helmet. And you can very easily see where those reflections will be most apparent.
We fulfilled the legacy of Artorias.
This may strike thine ear as somewhat peculiar, but long ago, in my homeland of Ulasia,
Actually going to send it to my
beset
computer,
by a creature from the abyss.
just so that I can look at it on this screen versus the...
For the great knight Artorias. In truth, I saw little of what transpired, for mine senses were already fled, but even still, there was something about Artorias, a certain balance of
Bonk.
performance that quite perfectly fits your semblance. Heavens, could it be that?
Who's that him? Who's that him that talking?
But Manus wasn't the only corruption of the abyss
Oh.
killed in Ulasia.
I just did. So we applied.
Legend of
We took a picture.
is a lie. He did not vanquish the father of the abyss. He did not eliminate the dark wraiths of New Londo. The abyss
We took a
was
picture
unstoppable.
of the model, turned it black and white, and then turned the contrast up. So as you can see, that allows us to see where all the highest points of reflection are, and we'll use this as a template for where we're going to put the highlights. Because something that people struggle with when they're doing non-metallic metal is, how do I know where the highlights are going to go? And you can do something like this to quote-unquote cheat and apply accordingly.
Only his fellow knights knew the truth, but they would take his soul and his secret to the grave.
But that's the exact template that we're going to
His
use.
soul was corrupted by the worst of humanity. It was the best of humanity that redeemed it. And the hero of Ulasil would disappear without a trace, almost as if he didn't belong. For in reality, he didn't. And eons later, deep within an enchanted
Oh,
wood,
hang on.
behind 2 locked doors and a troop of forest protectors, an
I
ancient
cannot continue if my camera keeps juddering like this because I'm using this for filming. Hang on.
But a fabrication.
Let's turn this.
Traversing the dark. 'Tis but a fairy tale.
Alvina is keen to downplay the legend of Artorias because heroes and
I turn that off for a second.
had begun seeking out his grave. They would desecrate his legacy for the secret of abyss walking, and they may do harm to Sif, who, in fact, Alvina helped you rescue.
So we'll try it this way.
The world was still young.
Turn it off.
Imagine what Sif is feeling when you cross paths
Turn it back on.
years later.
We'll
You're
see if that
duty-bound
fixes it.
To seek the abyss, and Sif is duty-bound to stop you. One of you will have to die, because Sif cannot give you the
Nope.
covenant of Artorias willingly. Maybe, in death, he can find his friend Artorias again.
1001. Yeah, exactly. Sometimes that'll happen. May need to restart stream.
I didn't know how to do, but they fit really, really well with the pacing of the video.
Okay, that fixed it. That fixed it.
Cinematic short film on
Hopefully we don't need to do anything else.
It's inspiring stuff. He's just getting his channel started, and
But let's continue.
his upcoming work is really
So the next step is we're going to go with deep gray.
This is an appropriate.
We're going to apply the initial
somebody else's
reflections.
because all those years ago, this
Eat the camera.
Cry, Artorias.
We
This
can't.
is the story I decided to tell for the first time, and
I wish we could, but we can't.
started. So
We just can't.
being able to work on this again
I hope my YouTube stream
was really
Uh,
special for me. And I really
restarted.
appreciate it.
Sometimes that doesn't want to do that.
I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time.
Let's begin with the initial highlights. So we saw them here,
The Witch of Izalith.
and initially it's going to be pretty
Primeval lords.
thick.
Her power came from the soul that she found near the first flame. She focused this power to light a flame of her own. But
And they'll
she
get
failed.
sort of progressively thinner.
The flame of chaos engulfed Mother and my sisters and molded them into deformed creatures. Only I escaped. And now
Will somebody do me a favor and just tell me if the YouTube stream also restarted?
my sisters.
Just so that I don't have to exit the OBS browser and potentially break it again. The look.
Long ago, we thought the Chaos Flame was born of desperation. A flame
It'd be super
created
helpful.
to replace the fading first flame and to secure the Age of Fire for the Lord.
Exactly.
We were wrong. Izalith's flame was a flame of ambition for the first flame,
Going.
and Izalith believed that her soul could replicate this power.
And what I mean by thick is,
But in the way that she
seems fine. Great. Thank you, Tism.
imagined her 7 daughters huddled
Thank you, Ren.
because their power, chaos was born. Their flame spiraled out of control, engulfing the
And thick meaning that, like, don't worry about having a thin surface area
the very worst
for this initial highlight. Because you want it to be,
after
quote unquote, thick enough to where you can put the other highlights inside of it.
bed of chaos at the heart of a new city. On that day, Izalith learned a set of core truths. First, that her power has limits.
There we are.
Second, that fire is to be feared. And third, that
Already looking not too bad.
is still life. The first daughter we meet is Quelaag. She is described by her soul.
A little bit on the top of the head there.
Perfect creation of chaos. And we see this in her movements. Note how she affectionately caresses her demon half, how she smiles with contentment, and how she embraces her parasite.
Let's continue.
The children of chaos are hungry. Give your
And for the wrists, And the other parts, we want to do a continual direction. I mean, like, try and do the same direction. If you're going to go horizontal for an application, try to keep it the same. Just because the texture of the metal, it does create a texture.
Those who defy the pact, those who trespass
As we do it.
Quelaag's domain, may you feel the depth of our wrath.
She speaks of a pact.
I thought I had that on. Do I not have that on?
Knowledge of this.
The live for 90 seconds
Quelaag is just
setting
a foe who blocks our path.
after closing stream.
She was so much.
I feel like I do, but maybe I don't.
Oh dear, what have we here? Are you a new servant? But you have no eggs. No matter.
Now the leg.
Go along and have audience with our fair lady. Except lay
Got it.
a hand on the fair lady.
Thank you, dragon.
Prepared to face my wrath.
Quelaag, my dear sister, what is it? Don't mind me.
Something that's also cool about painting a Dark Souls character is that because they're supposed to be kind of gritty, you have a little bit of leeway in terms of neatness. Because they're not supposed to be super neat.
Promise me that
They're all undead and nasty
The fair
and
lady
worn
is
out.
the second daughter of chaos we meet.
Even our boy Solaire.
Blind, ailing, and unfeeling, she subsists on offerings of humanity. Humanity that her sister Quelaag once brought to her. With the old witch's ring in our possession, the fair lady understands us. And since Quelaag was the only remaining one capable of speaking to her, you must be her sister.
you know, I still remember your beautiful, silky face. If only I could.
By the way, can you even hear the lore going on in the background, or is it too low?
Troubling you. Please, sister, do not cry. I am happy, really. I have you, don't I?
You can hear it? Let me turn it up a little bit.
You speak the tongue of the fair lady? In all honesty, I am envious. What comfort
Just so that we can have a little
without speaking her
ambiance.
tongue.
This egg-burdened undead was once a renowned pyromancer. He
There we go.
developed spells of toxic and poison mist, which are considered to be terrible
Creepy.
heretical spells. These pyromancies earned him exile.
But there's the
followed
initial
by a
highlight.
terrible infection,
Already looking pretty good.
then led to a chance meeting.
Let's continue.
with the Daughter of Chaos.
There's some highlights that we can do on the back side here. So I don't know if you can see it, but do you see this light band right there? So you don't need to do the photo to see these. The problem is that you move the model periodically while you're painting. So if you don't want to use a picture, you just have to literally try and hold the model still. So I'm going to follow this line
Their offspring. And
to give
the
the
lady's
back
chaos,
side of the helmet
even for
its
the
highlight
undead,
so that when you turn it,
carried
it's not
those
just the
offspring,
one section.
but without the humanity that her sister brought her,
If anyone's wondering how people do that without the picture,
will die.
this is how.
Quelaag, my
The exact same process, but you learn to see it on your own.
It hurts. They've gone still. I am afraid it may
Same
be
thing here.
too late. I am so sorry, dear
And
sister.
here, but this is his hand. That's not gonna have it.
Luckily, Ingi does not yet know that
Same
Mistress
thing here.
Quelaag is dead, so he shares his flame with you, which is a deeply personal act for a pyromancer, because the flame is a part of himself.
You have
In there.
served our fair lady well. Now,
And on the back of
let
this ankle,
strength
down here.
be yours.
Before there were pyromancies, there were fire sorceries, and then, when the Witch of Izalith shared her flame with her daughters, pyromancy came to be.
We'll do the same for this side.
which requires
It'll
a
be
certain
right here.
intellect, pyromancy is this personal
His helmet's really the big
rooted
focal
in
point.
this desire to hold and control fire, and then it's refined by the acceptance that true control is impossible.
Pyromancy is the ultimate fantasy. We are born into dark and warmed by fire, but this fire we cannot touch. Those
There we
whose
go.
fascination with fire persists
And you'll see later that the real thing that makes this look like metal is going to be the accents, and we'll show you that next. But we're going to go to the next highlight color, ash gray.
Inhuman witch who wanders the poison swamp. Only no one
The
has
poison
ever seen
the poison
her.
swamp.
So who
Yes.
really knows? But what if she is another
The audio
of
in the background is
sisters?
Vati Vidya's Prepare to Cry series. It's a lore video series for Dark
If you
Souls.
can see me. Fascinating. I am Quelana.
I'm going to put him in all the descriptions
I'm not often
so that I don't get a
revealed
copyright strike.
You have a gift. I
But
use
he's
it
one of the
since my
old.
biomancy.
He's like the original.
And she's the furthest
He's like the
one from
original
home.
lore
It's thanks to her
streamer
that
for,
mankind became
or
so
not
attuned
streamer,
to
lore guy for Dark Souls.
Pyromancy is the art of invoking
The streaming
and
schedule?
creating fire.
It's
But remember one
typically
thing.
Tuesday,
Always fear
Wednesday,
the flame,
Thursday every
lest you
week
be devoured by it and lose yourself.
at 6
I would hate to
p.m.
see that happen again.
Pacific Standard Time, so that's California time. You're actually kind of close. Panama.
Pyromancy of her homeland.
We just praised the site.
Instead,
Exactly.
opting
Yes,
for the more refined pyromancy.
that is true.
Fire whip, an effort.
Here's
to control
ash gray.
that which cannot
Believe it or
be
not, that's not the peak highlight.
Storm, which displays the indiscriminate horror of flame.
Join the
Perhaps most importantly,
Flame Nerd. Join the Discord. It's a link in my bio, and then you'll see whenever I'm streaming all the time, and also you'll be part of the community.
I have a favor to ask. I abandoned my mother and sisters and fled to this land.
So
My
we're
mother and sisters
flying
have been in
the
anguish
secondary
since.
highlights
I beseech you,
here.
free mother and my sisters from the flame of chaos. I cannot do it myself.
It's 11:11 p.m.
I lack
It's
the strength
9:11 for me.
and the bravery. But you, I realize what I am asking. But please, free their poor souls. Mother's ambitions were misguided, no doubt. But surely 1,000 years of atonement is enough.
Quelana believes her family has been in penance for 1,000 years.
So
Death
we're already
only comfort. But is this true?
getting there.
Take the word of
So
the woman
the
who's
thing that's
afraid
going to
to
make
face
this stand out a little bit better is we're going to do a little bit of blending at the end, but we need to do all this blocking first. So the initial drawing of the highlights.
Developed civilization. Isolith's
Oh,
architecture is
congratulations,
inspired
Paper
by
Towel! Yeah.
its first demons.
I hope it was. I hope that we were able to help you in some way to get those. Still a bad. We're all bad painters. We're all bad painters together. Paper Towel forever.
This is
Forever and ever.
a place that was ruined because of chaos. It's a place that became defined by it, and it's all thanks to Mother Isolith. If it was Isolith's goal to create a flame of life, then she succeeded. For
Yeah.
two younger sisters and the mother can be found in the depths of Isolith at its lowest point where demons are born. This seedbed of life is called the Bed of Chaos. It's actually comprised of 3 family members. Flanking on the sides are 2 enchanted, fleshy mounds connected to the center.
Also lost your game again. You know, sometimes that happens.
Like the Isolith staff seen in the beginning, where 2 sisters flank the mother in the center.
Sometimes that
Center of the Bed of
happens.
Chaos, Mother Isolith herself. Her control.
Mother Isolith. Oh man, the Chaos lore was
If you
great
take out a sister on the side,
in Dark Souls.
then
I
the
really
heart of
enjoyed
chaos
it.
Breaks free. So, if chaos was under control, what happened to Isolith?
Chaos Control.
Well, war.
Did anybody catch that?
Despite
Chaos Control.
Isolith's aid in Gwyn's war
Sonic
against the
reference.
dragon, the Lord of Light
Shadow the
turned
Hedgehog
his eye
reference,
to the
anybody?
creatures of chaos. Did he feel threatened by these monsters? Did he consider chaos to be this affront to the integrity of divine flame? It's impossible to say for sure. For this war, he commissioned an elite
Dark
order of
Souls
warriors
universe
known as the Black
confirmed
Lords.
the Sonic
Their
universe.
oversized weapons were designed to deal with their oversized foes, and their loyalty
Now, if it was,
was so fierce.
now if it was, now if it was, no, you're not. Only I am.
If
Truly.
there ever was a time for Quelana
Now, if it
to
was,
slip away,
is it the far future or the distant
during
past
war.
or both?
her family must have thought that
simultaneously.
she died. For upon an altar, dressed upon an unrecognizable corpse, is a gold-hemmed set that says it was once worn by Quelana of Isolith. So not only does this suggest that she faked her death, it suggests that she couldn't bear to have
The
her
distant
family
past?
know about her desertion, and this news of her death would have hit no one harder than her brother. This giant is a being of ceaseless discharge, born alongside the worst demons.
The ceaseless. Okay, so the ceaseless discharge character is probably one of the best stories. The lava brother. Oh, that's so good.
Fool that he is,
And told only through environmental storytelling.
The rest of his days in pain, oblivious to
Masterclass.
everything except
For sure.
a shrine to his sister Quailana. Desecrate her corpse, and he.
I just don't know that there's any game
so strong is the love
that
of
came
his family.
after Dark Souls that like gave everybody that feeling. Quite like it did. Thank you for joining. Everybody welcome him in the Discord, please. I'm a nerd.
Leaving her family may well have been the
Looking pretty
worst
good so
decision
far.
Gwyn could have made. For
We still haven't done the blending yet, and we haven't done the peak highlights, but we're looking pretty good.
Gwyn stopped short of annihilating the demons entirely. Izalith, after all, was already broken, referred to by many as the obsolete capital of chaos. In return for their miserable lives, and along with a promise to never leave Izalith, it appears that Gwyn received a swarm of demonic troops for his own army. Stray demons guard the asylum. Lesser Badwing demons became the messengers of the gods, and a white-winged demonic lion watches over the sanctuary of Ulasil. So it was that the family of chaos survived, and Quailana deserted them all. It's like
Well, welcome to the community.
Expect her sisters to survive the
Our
war.
brother from
Now
Panama.
that they have, she becomes stuck in this awkward state of limbo.
I truly do love that we have
For she
people from
disgraced
everywhere
and abandoned
in
her
the
family.
club. I really do.
And
So
yet,
I truly am super glad to have
to fully leave
so many people from all over the place.
Instead,
It's so cool.
She sits as close to chaos as possible.
I can't tell you how
punishing
cool that
herself
is.
with this endless wandering through a poison swamp. She watches.
Because at first I really thought it was like, I might get like the community
and yet, given her
locally,
survivor's
maybe.
guilt and her cowardice, she might as well be miles away. Which is a shame, because Quailana could truly be a comfort to her remaining family, especially to the fair lady, to her brother, and to her mother.
The Witch of Izalith, please, do not speak of her. I abandoned my mother and sisters and fled to this land. Now I roam these parts, feigning ablution and pretending to seek answers.
Finally, after 1,000 years of survivor's guilt, she meets us. Someone who can finally break the stalemate. She lacks the strength and the bravery, and we have a lord vessel to fill.
You would betray us? I should have known.
This character is also good. This seedbed or this infected character.
Quayla, what was that? Is something troubling you? Quayla,
Such good tragic storytelling.
why?
What was your guys' favorite storyline in Dark Souls? Like this of the sub stories, besides Solaire, of course. Of course.
They gave everything to wrest chaos under control. They ignited a culture. They displayed that they could control their parasites, and even that
You only
having
played
a
Elden Ring?
parasite at all
It's
is a
that's still an
choice.
excellent
A choice
choice.
to serve chaos.
Greetings from Mexico.
We rip the sisters' shackles from
Thanks,
chaos,
man.
And despite the mother's
I
feeble attempts to
wish
sort
that
of
I got it
split
more.
us,
Only because I really hope that they're helpful. Thank you for saying so. I'm glad that you like them. I'm glad that they're helpful for you, Demon.
Done very well. Thank you. I am blessed to have met you. Please take this. It is all of me.
we fed Quailana.
If you're gonna play it, get the remastered version. It's great.
For centuries. She
It fixes a lot of
never
quality of
knew
life
her
stuff.
sister poisoned herself
In my
for the
opinion.
good of the wretched.
Some
she
people
know
would say
that
like,
Dark
"Oh, only
Wraith
play the
was
original on
spurring
original
away
hardware," but I'm like,
humanity
come on,
for
that's
his
not
family,
that's not reasonable.
that her mother was doubled over in pain for centuries to contain chaos? Survivor's guilt is a real traumatic condition, and it led to
But
the
it was
death
the
of the
thing that like made
Eons
it so
afterwards, the
special
effects of all of
back in the
this still
day
felt.
was it was one of the
Without the
first
mother,
games to ever
chaos
have
rises
such a
again,
map that
and
everything ends up
Resident
being
Evil
connected at the
lay
end.
voice until
It was one of the
powerful
first
king
things that to
and
ever do that.
sacrificed themselves to
And
contain it once again. And even later still,
it was also
towards
one of
the
the
end
first to
world,
do the environmental storytelling
surrounded by
other
mountains
than
of dead
Demon's Souls,
an
which
old
was
demon
the
king
game
himself,
before
the
this,
Stages of Chaos, in
made by
one
FromSoft,
final
which is also
to fight for his
a super
There is only one
excellent
silver
game.
lining to this too.
But what makes that one charming is it's
that
jank
within
because
the
it's
long-forgotten
clearly
years,
got stuff that
past the last
needed to be
surviving
fixed, but
offshoots of
but
the demon
was
race,
experimental.
and behind
But
the usual
that's what makes it so good
lies the corpse of Quelana, curled up to the fair
at the
lady.
same time.
She finally found the strength to return home.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
This video is dedicated
I have
to
charisma?
patrons.
What are you talking
There's
about?
like 1,000 or so of you who support my stuff.
Mrs.
so
Golem would
millions
disagree.
can enjoy it, and I think it takes a special kind of person to do that. So
She says
thank you.
She says negative charisma.
Hey, I guess I can now include my Twitch subs amongst that number as well. Twitch subs actually get the same perks as
There is a
$5
Mrs. Golem.
patrons do. So
Oh, Ren, you're
that
that's
means
I don't know if
early
you've been here
access
for,
to
for
videos
yes. There's a Mrs.
also
There's a
early
long
access to the
time
art
Mrs.
that I
Golem.
commission for the channel as well. It's really nice to be able to give back to you guys, and all of the wallpapers this month are awesome since they were specifically created for Twitch, so they have the right aspect ratio and everything. I actually use most of these myself. Check it out. And we debuted this video on Twitch yesterday, and it was super fun and motivating to
No.
read your comments about it in real time. At the very least, I do plan to stream
No,
every time
but
I
I'm
upload
not
a
going to
video,
prove it
so keep
in
an eye
any
out for
way.
that. I gotta get that practice in before Sekiro launches in March, because I think I'm gonna stream the hell out of that. I'd love to be able to share my first playthrough. I'd also like to thank the Parry God who collaborated with me for this video. He was responsible for the incredible camera angles and all of the slow motion shots, so check out his channel in the description. And there's also two other lore content creators I want to shout out. There's Hawkshaw and Loki, two content creators who really changed the way that I view.
I cannot confirm or deny.
The conclusions that they draw inspired
Might be
this
painted.
video. So I think you guys would particularly enjoy Hawkshaw's video.
Need a
on
little
the demons. I know I've shouted
accents
it out
on the
before, but
eye
that's in the description. But
eye
that's all
holes
for
here.
now. Thank you, as always, simply for watching the video.
But it's coming together.
Enhanced your enjoyment of the Souls series, because that's what this is all about. And
Thank you for the
see next time.
bonk. I always appreciate the bonks.
Do not go gentle into that good night. Old age
I want the Solaire video. Hang on. Where's the Solaire video?
Rage, rage against the dying of the light.
The light meant everything to Gwyn.
This is the Gwyn
For
video.
light, it was nothing. Imagine being a nameless member of some primitive congregation, barely scraping by in a harsh, dark world. Then, you come across a most
Oh, we're getting
glorious
there.
sight, light. And by
Now
that
let's
light,
do
you
a
find
little
soul,
bit of blending.
not
So
just
what I
any
mean by
soul,
that is we're
but
going to
the
do,
most powerful
in this
soul,
case, because
one
it's
that
such a
carries with it
small
the power, no, the
thing,
responsibility
we're going to
lift
do
your
a
race out of the
in-between
shadows
color.
onto the
So I'm
surface
mixing
where
the
dragons dwell. Gwyn did not
the
win
mid-tone,
his
so
first
the
war overnight. We forget this,
deep
but
gray
during
and
the
the ash
Age of
gray together
Ancients,
to make
there
a
was still
mid-tone
time
between the
for
two,
worlds to rise.
so that we can
Civilizations were
have
built,
something to
alliances were forged,
stipple in
loyal
between
knights were
them.
appointed,
And I do
betrayers
want to use
were born.
stippling
For after disparity came
as the
creatures
blending
that
for this
were not
here,
born equal. Creatures like
because it's going to
Seek,
provide the
who lived
easiest
without
transition.
The immortal stone scales of his brethren. With his
And again, because
mortality
it's such a small
came a
surface,
desperation,
I think that's what's going to be
jealousy,
the most apparent.
things
It's going to be the
dragons
easiest
never
to
had,
quote unquote
and
notice.
will never understand. And so, with their secrets betrayed
like Carmen
by
did.
the Pale
Yeah.
Drake, the dragons' homes were burnt to ash, their scales were pierced by lightning.
So stippling
and their
is
flesh
just
was
little
exposed to
dots.
disease. The war was won, and Gwyn could have
Might be too
eliminated
light,
Seek
actually.
here, but he chose not to. Instead, he did just the opposite.
I think that's
Granted
a little
Sif
too light. Let's
a piece
go.
of his very own soul. He elevated him to the peerage. He
Yes,
granted
we gotta
him
do that. We
duty
gotta do the
and
sun logo,
also
but
the
that's gonna be
hand of
later.
His daughter, Guinevere, with whom he could sire royal children. Honoring Seath like this ended up
Too
costing
light.
Gwyn his closest battle compatriot,
There we go.
Havel the Rock, who harbored this deep hatred against the scaleless dragon.
So again, we're just using this to make a subtle transition between
Behind an illusory wall
the
and
peak highlight
protected by a mimic are his
or the
armaments,
peak
alongside
tones
the occult weaponry
in the mid-tone,
designed
and
to
we're
kill
thinning
god.
the
From this we can
glare,
guess that Havel nursed this resentment
or
for Gwyn.
thinning
Though it
the
seems he never
reflection
acted
to
on
make
it.
it a little
This
more
time, after
sharp.
all, Gwyn was surrounded by his entourage.
And the reason why stippling is good is
Many of
because
them
it still
wistful
allows some of it to come
cravings
through.
returned to the combat
So if you look at
that had
that,
once given them purpose.
it gives the metal some
Would
texture,
repeat this behavior throughout the Age of Fire, keeping his
but
friends
still allows
close
that reflection.
and his enemies even closer. For fire was at its
Anything over
peak,
here?
and the whole world was charmed by its brilliance.
Good men, the last wave by, crying how bright their frail deeds might have danced in the green bay. Rain
And the unevenness gives it some wear.
against the dying of the light.
To Nito, Gwyn permitted a quiet domain for all of the deceased, and in return, Nito never did.
That
spread
mixes
death to
true
the
metallic
gods.
metal and non-metallic metal? I don't
The witch
know.
was tolerated
There
despite
probably
sworn
is, but
ages of chaos. But
it's
there was a fourth
it's definitely
one that I
a
didn't mention
way that
when
it's
talking about the
applied.
Dragon Wars, but one who took part in them just the same.
And
The
to
furtive
explain that, it would be
ignorance
like
and their descendants.
sort of exactly the way that I'm doing
Pygmy
right now.
lords, squirreling
To
away
get true
soul
metallic
of
metal,
dark,
you essentially do the same
represented
thing
the
that I'm
most
doing.
significant threat
It's
to
just
Gwyn's Age
with
of Fire.
metallic paints
So what do
and
you think Gwyn
progressive
did? Exterminate
layers
them?
of that
No.
of those different shades
Instead,
going up.
Gwyn indebted them. with
It's
the
not
roots of
entirely
evil,
different. It's a
while
method.
Pygmy
It's
lords
not a
waited patiently
paint
for light to fade.
product or something like
Gwyn
that.
Twisted their fate. Prop up this tiny race.
It's not a.
Bathe
I should say it's not a
glory
result of the
light,
paint
blind
itself.
them
It's a
with
result of the
brilliance,
technique,
Give them a crown, a ringed city, his youngest
which is
daughter.
essentially the same.
Let them indulge in bounty, and while they're still weak, raise a dragon to watch over them.
But there
seal
definitely
their dark
is.
with
Maybe
fire,
I'll try that.
and shackle them.
Maybe I'll
to
try that one of these
mortality.
days.
Let them spread across the earth and forget their heritage, their accomplishments. Let the origins of humanity be buried, out of sight and out of mind. So the Pygmies were walled off, safe in a city that exists only at the
Okay,
end
so
of the
we
world. Most of them
blurred
stayed
the
there
transitions a
forever,
little bit.
happily subservient to their princess Philea.
And now the thing that's going to make it really turn into metal,
was a miracle. that
we're
was
going to
designed
use the
prevent
Brigand Gray, the
overloss.
very peak highlight, to make the
Meanwhile,
peak reflections,
humans,
and then this is
Pygmies'
going to turn the
ancestors,
gray
spread to the outside
into a
world, and
metallic gray.
out there,
Now that we've
they
done
too
some of the
warmed
minor
themselves by
transitioning
fire.
here.
However, unbeknownst to most of them, this ran counter to their true nature. In the dark, there are no shadows, but where fire resides, shadows twist and shrivel. So, some members of the dark did sense that something was wrong, and they began to ram against their shackles. First, a mad king was born to the Pygmies, and he was undying, as the dark should be, so he was held in a dark room until the end of time. Later, yet another Pygmy lord would go on to spawn
Yes.
an abyss.
A lot of
where he was
cleaning
unearthed
is
in the
worth it
city.
for good coverage,
And
absolutely.
over time, even mankind turned into monsters. This hollowing process that unfairly
Okay,
became attributed
so here's
to
the
their
almost
darkness
white, but not
instead
quite.
of the fire.
We have to be
branded.
careful with this to only apply it where we want to have those peak reflections so that it gives it that metallic sheen.
Words had forked
A little bit at the top there,
They do not go gentle into that good night.
right at the peak,
Gwyn's favored tool
the head,
of control was the church.
along the
Something
eye
he had
socket
used to great
here.
effect already in the ringed city, and he would use it again now to indoctrinate the people.
And again, I'm using the
Why?
picture
Gwyn
that we
was their
took as the
deity of
reference to
worship,
apply
and
these.
Lloyd, the Grey, was at its head, acting as a sort of intermediary between gods and humans. They framed undeath as a terrible sin, and so the undead became the subjects of undead hunts, led by cleric knights charged to cleanse the unholy. And if such a cleric, God forbid, actually became undead themselves, then there was a solution to that too. Such ironically cursed humans were shipped off to Lordran and given a new holy mission:
retrieve the Rite of Kindling from the deadly catacombs.
But how
And
is
if you
that
should
helmet
find
with just those
someone
reflections? I think we did a great job.
basically dressed up
Is that a
excellently
non-metallic
as
metal
clerics,
iron helmet for you?
one man whose exile he did not spin for once was the banishment of his firstborn son, the nameless king, god of war and leader of the Sunlight Covenant, had his
Let's keep going.
rescinded after it was discovered that he was fraternizing with dragons. This was something he covered up. In
I
addition,
really want a
it seems
Solaire
like
model
Quinn's
with
captain of
him
the guard,
holding the
Ormston,
lightning bolt.
went
I
on
would
to leave
love
his
to do
post in favor
a
of the nameless king.
like
And
how to paint
so too,
lightning
it appears, did
tutorial for that. That would be
Tonight
so
lies
sick.
in the nameless king's
I just gotta
defense
find one.
of Archdragon Peak. A war had been fought in the name of disparity. Yet, how righteous, truly, was their
Please
war
unblur.
against the ancient,
There we go.
unchanging, everlasting dragons, when Gwyn himself refused to cede to the natural order? But Gwyn's manipulation would not last, for the nameless king was just a crack in the dam, and the wall was set to burst.
Wild men who caught and sang the sun in flight, and learned too late they grieved it on its way. Do not go gentle into that good night.
Many alliances broke, seemingly
Bit like
all at
both.
once.
So you could make you can do the physical lighting of the lightning bolt
The
by
Rite of
doing
Kindling
things
had been
like
lost within his domain.
the OSL effect on the pieces of the armor, or you can do even like we can even do something where like I use wire to make the lightning look like it's crackling, and then we can apply light effects to that, and we can show how that works.
Whispers that Karth, one of
I'd make it myself, but I don't. I don't know that I know how
about the
to make an entire lightning bolt from scratch, but I could try.
Could keep it alive no longer.
And I'd have to like remove him. Like if you did it on this model would be a good example. I would just have to remove the sword and turn it into a lightning bolt somehow. Like maybe I could clip off the edges of the pommel and put like clay around the sword to make it uniform, and then have it also going back, and then put wire around it. I mean, you could do it with this model. This model is positioned kind of correctly for that.
Leave a mark. Perform.
Maybe I'll get another one of the same one and try that.
So complete.
Because it really, this model really isn't kind of the right pose for it.
And it worked. Well.
He's even holding the sword in the correct way, where you could easily kind of turn that into a lightning bolt if you wanted. But it would require some good sculpting.
And from this point on, every time an age of fire dwindled, the souls of lords would flourish anew, so that it could all play out again. The timeline of fire had warped. It had turned from a
You could do the lightning sword, but no, I want it to be the bolt.
Becoming this wall containing the rightful age of dark until the end of time. Eventually, as the world burned out over and over again, ash itself would arise, a new being created from 1,000 failures who had tried to link the fire over the years. But ash did
There
not
we go.
in this world.
We're slowly getting closer and closer.
They had more in common with the beings of the painted world, where
It's
all of
crazy how
fire's
just these little
things
dots
were burned. So they fought for
turn it into metal.
to reunite the dark soul and to paint a new world with it, so that they could escape the ashen wasteland that Gwyn had created.
And we haven't even done the chainmail part of it yet.
Far away,
The chainmail is the
at very
same
end of the world, one of the
same
first
concept.
victims
It's just
of
going to be with a
slavery
bluer
again.
because it's sort of a
Beyond
silvery
belief, also
color.
sacrificed himself for a new world, and he did not go gentle into that good night.
Grave men near death who see with blinding sight. Blind eyes could blaze like meteors and be gay. Rage, rage against the dying of the light. And you, my father, there on the sad height, curse, bless me now with your fierce tears, I pray. Do not go gentle into that good night. Rage, rage against the dying of the light.
If you're watching this video in the first week of its
There we
release,
go.
then we have a limited edition print of our new merch design now available.
I have the Vallejo True Metallic Metal line. I love it. I really do.
Dark Souls
It's fantastic.
and
It's a new collaboration.
The next way to make this even more convincing
So, Elden Ring
is we're actually going to take the ironclad gray and mix just a tiny bit of black to make a even deeper shadow on the shadowed sections.
It's this ink-styled knight with bright red hair that's inspired by Elden Ring's design.
There's my black. There it is. So we're just going to take a little bit of matte black and mix it with the
red hair
ironclad gray.
Is the limited edition variant.
This is not a metallic paint channel, but we do break that rule because everybody
is going to be on Elden Ring. So
everybody likes to use it. I'm just kidding. We're not prejudiced against metallic paints. I love metallic paints.
We start making up our own Elden Ring content. Thank you for watching, and I hope you all enjoyed this Prepare to Cry, and I'll see you all next time. Two knights, one soul. Siegmeyer and Sigurd of Katarina. The knights
so we mixed a little bit of black
as symbols of their homelands.
Into the
from Oscar and Solaire, we
AK markers only.
Valiant Duke of Astoria.
AK, yes.
Lautrec, the grim
only acrylic paint markers from now on. So we mixed a little bit of black into the ironclad gray, and we're going into the dark, using the same photo. We're darkening up the areas
for Katarina is a land of
in deepest shadow
and its knights are jovial
to increase that contrast even more.
Is surely crippled by the undead curse, which dooms the afflicted to endless life and to a hollow fate. But for all of its horrors, undeath
see that?
affords certain opportunities. Some become motivated.
Look at how dark that is now.
Ancient arts, or
we'll do the same thing
obsessions.
down
It's no
here.
longer unreasonable to think you could reach the lands of the gods, or trigger ancient prophecies. Your morals become challenged in the
We're
face
just
of eternity,
really
and it's likely
boosting
the
that
ancient
contrast.
gods themselves who left you to this fate. But to Siegmeyer, his curse meant one simple thing: adventure. And one by one, they all learn the limits of the flesh, the limits of want, and while all of them hollow, in the end, their stories remain. To be undead is to lose yourself, and an undead who loses everything becomes hollow. Rare is the sight of a human in Lordran, for Sieglind only has one life to lose. Despite this, she not only travels.
Oh, this is the story of Sieglind, Sigrun,
Lordran itself, making her an awe-inspiring knight.
his daughter. Why am I not able to pronounce his name suddenly?
Wouldn't miss him. A suit of armor just
Sigismund's daughter.
Thank goodness. I knew he was here.
Not Sigismund.
Well then, now I must find him. Thanks again, truly. Now if we'll just stay put and keep out of trouble.
She's a small part of the life that Siegmeyer left behind, but
Siegmeyer.
memories fade quickly, with the oldest going first.
My daughter risked life and limb just to find me, to deliver her mother's last words. And the poor girl's not even undead. Heavens, I never asked her to do that.
He came here seeking adventure, and that's
So
quite
again, we're just applying the shadows here,
compared to others that grip those in Lord.
trying to make it
His
as
ability to progress
high
and
contrast
explore
as
should
possible.
keep him from hollowing, just as long as obstacles can be overcome and adventure be had. However,
I've run flat
Thank you for the
up against a
hydrates.
wall, or a gate, I should say. The thing just won't budge, no matter how long I wait. And oh...
I will do it in just a second.
By my knighthood, I'm ashamed to ask, but can you spare a few scraps of moss? This is quite a fix. We'll need another 3, no, maybe 5 bodies. Quite a fix indeed.
the name Siegmeyer means
And the
victory,
honks.
and that is what you take from him.
The gates, the old fortress. Was that your doing? But be warned, gallantry entails great risks. Next time, give me a chance to come up with a plan. Well,
We will.
fates do seem entwined, don't they? Perhaps this, too, is the will of Lord Gwyn.
As you save Siegmeyer, you may well be draining his belief in himself, leading him to take one final stand.
Those monsters making life difficult for you? You need not be ashamed. We're all in the same boat, you know. I really have run up quite a debt to you. Perhaps the time has come.
It's a suicide mission to repay his friend.
There we go.
Take that victory from him.
So now we've maximized contrast. So let's take a look.
Don't be slow.
This is the iron armor.
Come on! Over here, you
What do you guys think?
panic, foul creatures! I am
It'll look even better when we do all the other colors. So let's start doing that. Let's block out the... Well, first let's do the chainmail.
While you escape,
So the
you
chainmail
will hollow, but
is going to consist of a couple things. So
however,
first we need to make sure that it's
survive here
blue.
as if you save his life again.
So that's a couple colors.
You.
That's going to be night sky.
Well, you've saved me once again. Oh, thank goodness. I'm exhausted.
Is the initial
This
highlight.
is the last time you'll see Siegmeyer alive.
My father, he went on his final adventure. Don't worry, that's just the way he is. Undead or no. Sort of reassuring, really. If he goes hollow, I'll just have to kill him again.
The name Sieglind means gentle battle. Here, she's simply jesting that she'll always be there to rein him in,
And it's a pretty
even if
thick
the worst happens.
highlight.
And it's a joke in poor taste, for it comes true in the
There we
end.
are.
Yes. Now I see. You are one of the bad ones. Then there's only one thing to do with you.
Sigmar, no!
How can this be, dear father?
Heavens, my dear little Lynn.
And that blend is gonna, when we do the blending for the chainmail, it's gonna look even better.
Lake, he goes to join his wife in death, and there's nothing you can do to stop him.
My father, all hollow now. He's been subdued. He will cause no more trouble. It's finally over. Oh,
See you in a few, Rin.
dear father.
Of course,
Enjoy
it's
your
not
food.
over. Towards the end, when the world has almost burned to ash, ash itself will rise to inherit it. These are the unkindled, undead who attempted to link the fire, but failed and were cremated instead. They're commanded to rise as a last resort to
There we
bring
go.
the fleeing lords of Cinder back to their thrones. And it seems after
So
Siegfried's
it's
Hollow,
definitely
one of
practice
Siegfried's
over
line
time, but of
attempted
something
to
that's
link
going to
the
really
fire.
help you
The name
is
Siegfried
if you have
means
it,
guardian.
make sure that you have something that has a razor sharp point like this.
He has Sieglind's strength of purpose.
We unkindled.
Do you see how pointy this brush is?
And
That's
Siegmeyer's
always going to
discernment
help
good
you,
nature.
but this is not a small brush, it's a size 2,
Toast to make.
but this is a
Your valor,
teeny tiny model, and I'm using this quote-unquote giant brush on it.
May the sun
Where some people will tell you to go buy something like, I don't know, like a 0 or something like this.
Sigurd managed
That's not
to
necessary.
defend lonely
It's more about understanding how your brush behaves
He was a giant who
and
sacrificed
using
everything
something that's going to allow you to get into those
all the same.
small
So,
areas
to
with
Sigurd,
precision like
his
this
dear friend,
small
he
tip.
entrusted the only blade
That's always going to be
capable of
more
felling him
helpful
in
than
return for a
small,
promise.
quote-unquote small
One
brush.
day I will link the fire, and if the bell tolls for me, I may not have it in me to return. So kill me if I ever betray that promise.
But I
Perhaps
definitely
you'll impressed upon him
think that practice and understanding how your brush behaves is the most important thing. And what I mean by that is, like, for example, I'm stroking the paint here
So like
on this
Sieglind once did for her father,
chainmail,
Sigurd does
and I
for you.
know that how this brush behaves, meaning that I know that which way the bristles are going to move when I touch the model.
My thanks.
I know they're not going to fray,
not kept my
and I know
promise
they're not
without
going to move in a direction that I'm not expecting them to, so I can rely on that.
To your valor,
And that can be done with any brush,
my old
by the way.
friend Yorm. Long may the sun shine.
Long may the sun shine.
With his duty fulfilled, Sigurd succumbs to his wounds, and Siegmeyer's bloodline ends in glory, in an adventure for the ages.
Siegmeyer. The other son, bro.
We have new Patreon merch, but I'll talk about that in a second. First, can you believe that the original Siegmeyer Prepare to Cry was released back in 2012? Did you watch it when it came out, all the way back then? It's thanks to you guys that I've been able to keep refining my craft, so thank you. Back then, I was able to start focusing on this full-time.
Yeah, it is a big brush, but because I know how it works, I use it for everything.
If you join the collector tier and then you pledge for 3 months consecutively,
that's really what it
you
is.
have this poster shipped to your address. It's a design of
okay, let's go to the next
and it's somewhat inspired
highlight
by
color.
Elden
So the
Ring,
next
and
one
it's
above
designed
Night
by
Sky
who created
is going
most
to
of the
be
incredible merch on this channel.
Thunderous
So this
Blue,
is a
but we're
very,
actually going to
very
mix this with
product,
some gray
especially
because it's again, it's not a blue, it's a
Patreon
gray
only
blue
let me
that we're
set
trying to
$30
make.
as the minimum for this product, so only the most dedicated patrons will want this, and that's fine. I just wanted to let you know that it exists and let you know that I appreciate you all.
We're going to mix this with a little bit of the second midtone, the ash
See
gray
you next time.
that we used on the iron armor because we want them to look similar. They're still both the same iron metal, but it's different hues. Okay.
Uh-oh.
Go back to lore of Elden Ring.
The god of Mount Gelmir is a serpent, and it has been there for a long time. Long before the age of the Erd Tree.
Ooh, how about lore of Midra? Midra's
Midra's
good.
Sanctum, a veritable paradise. And then
Come no closer. No closer, I say.
This was such a cool character in Elden Ring. Where's the wait, hang on. Where's the Solaire?
refers to it as
Prepare to cry
abyss,
Solaire.
a place mired in frenzy, forbidden by the horn scent. Interestingly, the word the Japanese use to describe this place is naraka, which essentially
That's
is
the one I want. 13 years ago. It's even in a weird format.
And when you do see it, who's to say it's real? The Age of Fire is ending, and the world is already dark. Logan believes that there are no gods, no transcendence, only power. To become a god is simply to...
He's even got a bad microphone in this one, like an older microphone, clearly. That's crazy. 13 years ago.
Lords must rely on illusions instead of power, until new fuel for the flame is found. As Gwyn burns in his tomb, Gwendolyn and Frampt search desperately for someone to replace him, to maintain their Age of Light a little longer. Solaire reminds me of the legend of Icarus. Icarus is granted wings and uses them to chase the sun, but he flies too close and falls to his death. Solaire has limitless ambition and strives to obtain the sun as well, but he too runs the risk of flying too close. It's hard to find the sun in Lordran, and the world is already dark. Perhaps Solaire is looking for a new light.
Okay.
There is a prophecy that comes from Solaire's homeland in Astora, a prophecy that sheds light on Solaire's quest.
There is an old saying in my family, thou who art undead art chosen, when thine exodus from the undead asylum maketh pilgrimage to the land of ancient lords, when thou ringeth the bell of awakening, the fate of...
Really gonna have to do a good job on the sun logo when we eventually get to it.
You must be two things. You must be undead, and you must escape the asylum.
Okay, and then finally the last one is still gonna be the Brigand Gray for the highlight, because again, it's not a blue. We want it to look like it's got a blue hint.
His legacy. But Oscar was not the
Let's
only one
do
trying
just
to
a
become
little bit.
part of the prophecy. Solaire also escaped the asylum.
The way I see it, our fates appear to be intertwined. Both undead, both imprisoned in the asylum, and now we both end up here, in a land brimming with hollows. Could that really be mere chance? I hardly think so. I became undead to pursue this.
Solaire's quest meant so much that he chose
That's something else about Solaire. Like, he says that he became undead.
if you believe that you are the chosen
It's a
one,
very interesting.
Solaire
Like he did it on
your
purpose.
meeting was not chance, but fate. You can choose to believe that everything in your past led you here. But who was Solaire before he became undead and met you? Gwyn, Lord of Sunlight, had 3 children. One was named Guinevere, who fled her father and Anor Londo as the flame continued to fade. Another was Gwyndolin, born of the moon and raised as a daughter. Master of illusion, he maintains power in Anor Londo through an illusion of his sister and a fake son. The identity of the 3rd child is a mystery. All we know is that he was a god of war, but his foolishness led to the loss of something invaluable, and he had his god status rescinded. Statues were destroyed, and there are places where it is clear that there have been obvious efforts to remove all trace of him ever existing. But in a land far from Anor Londo, near an altar dedicated to
There
Sunlight,
we are.
there is one statue that remains. It's the statue of a woman holding a small child.
And we're mixing the blue.
The same sword as Solaire.
It's not from the Dark Souls board game, but it is from. It's just an STL that somebody made for Dark Souls characters. I just really appreciate it. But no, it's not. It's not from the game or anything like that.
To take his powers away. Solaire would have lost his status and nothing more. Even though his equipment has no special powers, he travels through Lordran with little.
But we love the lore for sure. Now we're doing the shadows for the chainmail here. We're going a little darker. So we finally get to sort of a
In the end, it doesn't matter if Solaire is the son of Gwyn. To the world, he's simply a friendly man who helps his comrades when they are in need.
Oh yeah, I know. I love Solaire.
He is a man who gave everything he had to find something, despite looking like a fool. But after years of searching, his hope turns to despair.
Doing more shadows, going even darker here.
Turns to madness.
And here. Back there. Very dark in the back.
Finally, I have. My Varia.
And we'll do a little transition right here in the mid-tones.
I have. Yes, I did. I did. Oh.
This was so sad. It happened. I know. No.
It's setting. It's dark. So dark.
Solaire, a man of
Our guy.
loses his mind to a creature that looks like the sun and dies to your blade. Or does he?
Or does he?
Time in Lordran is convoluted, and one undead may take a different path. A path that lets Solaire persist a little longer.
Now we're adding shadows to these crevices just to make it a little more deep. Give it that more 3D effect. Same thing over here.
A path that takes you both to the kiln of the first flame, where Solaire can fight for his son.
And up here. There we go. So now we have non-metallic metal, iron armor, and the chainmail. Not bad so far. No. This is not Iron Warrior. This is Soleil. We know who this is. We know this guy. It's Iron Armor is the tutorial this time. Oh, we know. We know our guy. Thanks, man. See you later, demon. Solar tutorial. Exactly. All right, let's block out some colors. But first we're actually gonna do, let's just paint the iron sword really quick. His signature, nothing special iron sword, by the way. His signature, I was actually just cool while being cool because I was cool the whole time. Iron sword.
With Gwyn defeated, Soler can light a flame of his own and return sunlight to the world. For the fire within Soler will burn the brightest of all.
And also, we need his signature. Now we'll add some contrast. We're gonna do his signature leafy green cowl thing that he's got going on. I love this. I love his leafy green cowl thing.
The stories of Souls games have always revolved around bosses, but that statement
Now we're doing
has
the
never
boss
been more
lore.
true than for Dark Souls 3. If you understand who you're killing in this game, then you will understand the story. The first one in your way is Udex Gundyr, the Ashen Judge and scabbard to the coiled sword of the shrine. This sword is bequeathed only to chosen Ash, who can best him in battle. But
It is
before
because he
was the Ashen
believed in the
Judge,
sun.
Gundyr
That's
walked
true.
through this place much like we did, on his way
His
to meet
his
his
very
firekeeper
own
and light the
son.
fire. Charged with a duty and granted a cast iron halberd that would never crumble, Gundyr arrived, late, greeted by a shrine without fire and a bell that would not toll. The flame had already faded, and his firekeeper had been thrown into the depths of the bell tower, grave of firekeepers past. She never met her champion, and the ensuing tragic farce became a favorite tale of the masses. And after he was bested by an unknown warrior, which is probably us, Gundyr the champion became sheathed to a coiled sword in the hopes that someday the first flame would be linked once more. Perhaps Gundyr, with his unbreakable halberd, was fated to eternal service from the beginning. Since it's implied that Gundyr expected to meet a firekeeper, he was likely meant as a candidate for linking the fire. Those capable of linking the fire are named Lords of Cinder, beings capable of bringing back the world from the brink of darkness by linking the first flame. Indeed, the game speaks of 3 Lords of Cinder who have already linked the fire, and they're being resurrected as a last resort to link it once again. In the opening cutscene, you saw them: Aldrich, Saint of the Deep, Yorm the Giant, and Farron's Abyss Watchers. Each of these lords once had an age of their own, and the remnants of their age lives on in Dark Souls 3 and in their resurrection. For example, Aldrich is linked to these bosses and their stories, the Abyss Watchers are linked here, and those in Lothric are conjoined here. For simplicity's sake, we're going to discuss these stories in 3 chunks, starting with Aldrich, Pontiff Sullivan, Vort, and the Dancer, who all reside in the Boreal Valley. The Boreal Valley is currently ruled over
And
by Pontiff
his
Sullivan,
his
a tyrant who sends
cloak
his
is.
outrider
Hang
knights
on,
to
I have to
serve
look him
as
up
his watchful
because
eyes
I can't
and
remember if
his
it's a
guards.
tan
And
or
the first
a.
knight of Pontiff Sullivan we meet is Vort, an outrider knight who ambushes us as we attempt to leave Lothric.
It's a white.
So the outrider knight's job is to keep an eye on things. Sullivan's knights
It's a white
are
with
also
his
described as
signature
his watchful eyes
symbol.
and his punitive blades. Each outrider knight is provided with a ring by the pontiff, which transforms them into frenzied beasts and lures them into battles of death. Specifically, the 2 main outrider knights we see upon the high wall of Lothric.
Man, I remember
appear at
Dark
both
Souls 3 was
points of
also so
progression
good.
in the area, so
I just
perhaps
remember
they
it being
serve as
so good.
strategically placed
Let's
guards
do
in order to hinder
Night
our
Sky.
progression, and for Sullivan to keep an eye on the world. When you went through Irithyll, I'm sure you noticed those ghosts that seem to be walking the streets. Well, they likely represent
The
the
initial
outrider knights before their
base
departure
color.
and descent into madness, because 2 in particular are very interesting. They walk
We're
together,
using our
one man,
white
one
cloak
female,
formula.
and the woman wears the mask of the dancer.
It is a base
Vort
coat of
was
blue,
never far from the fleeting
moving
dancer,
up into
who
white.
watches over Emma in Lothric's Grand Cathedral. The dancer is
It will also
far
help,
more intriguing than Vort is.
not disguise,
The
but
pontiff
help
ordered
the
her to
transition
serve as a
to
dancer,
the
and
blue
then he
chainmail
ordered
that
her
we've
to
already
serve
got.
as his outrider knight. He bestowed enchanted swords upon her, one dark and one light, mirroring his own. Eventually, the black eyes of the pontiff transformed her into a beastly creature, her gauntlets fusing with her own hide. The fascinating thing about the dancer, though, is who she was before she became Sullivan's pet. It's a very popular theory that she is one of the 3 daughters of Guinevere who appear in-game. Here's the evidence. Her Aurora Veil is said to be an article of the Old Gods, which is permitted only for direct descendants of the old royal family. The dancer's soul can also be transposed to give you the spell Soothing Sunlight, miracle of Guinevere of the old royalty. Guinevere used to reside
This
in
was such a
Anor
cool.
Londo,
Like they
and her
did
line
such a good
continues
job of
in Lothric.
tying
So
everything
Guinevere was
together
also
in these
revered
games
as a goddess of fertility and bounty.
across
She
the
raised
board.
many heavenly children, and the dancer, having one of the 3 sunlight spells, is clearly one of them. And of course, as you know, Pontiff Sullivan, the tyrant, now rules over Irithyll and Anor Londo, so it's my belief that Sullivan gained power within Anor Londo, then proclaimed himself pontiff, and ordered Guinevere's daughter to serve as his dancer, and then...
And once this dries, we apply the
royal
highlight
family
color of
was
the
usurped and devoured and torn apart
either
by
worn
Sullivan,
stone
who
or
Yoshka says wrongfully
actually no, it's
proclaimed
a
himself pontiff. Even
more
after
of
the
a
family's passing,
tan.
the Silver Knights looked over their manor and the ruined cathedral.
Yeah, the ancient stone.
The story behind Pontiff Sullivan's rise to power is told lightly, with only clues peeking above the surface. But in a nutshell, I believe Pontiff Sullivan took over Anor Londo from within, probably with the help of the Deacons of the Deep.
And
The
then
only
finally
ones in his
white
way
on
are
top.
The Dark Moon Knights.
The Dark Moon Knights were once led by my elder brother, the Dark Sun Gwendolyn, but he was stricken by illness, and leadership of the Knights fell to me. Then Sullivan wrongfully proclaimed himself pontiff, and took me prisoner. Oh, where could my dear brother be?
So when I say that Pontiff Sullivan took over Anor Londo from within, it is speculation on my part, but my reasoning is that he knew of Gwendolyn, and he knew of Yoshka, and he wrongfully proclaimed himself pontiff, which all imply that he was a part of the system already. A pontiff is essentially a high priest, and the miracles...
Still doing a cloth, so we're doing sort of a hatching.
Moon all rely on faith. Additionally, there's a bit more evidence that the pontiff was a part of the Dark Moon system already. The sword in his left hand is a ceremonial sword representing the judgment of the moon. However, its magic is far closer to sorcery than any existing lunar power. Its dark blue hues, deeper than the darkest moon, reflect Sorcerer Sullivan's true nature. Yoshka calls Sullivan a tyrant, which can mean someone who elects themselves ruler without legal right. This, along with his great sword of judgment that references the moon,
Don't tell
furthers
James
the
Workshop.
idea that he took over from within, the
True.
figurehead of a movement that was abandoning their faith in favor of Sullivan's true calling.
I think
dark
they did
sorceries.
make one.
And the same
They
sort of
did.
shift was happening amongst the
There
deacons
is
of the
one.
deep,
I'm pretty
who we
certain.
find all
I've seen it
throughout
before.
Anor Londo.
I think it's in my local
Originally,
game
though,
store, actually.
They were a group of clergymen dedicated to
I'm
sealing
pretty
away
certain
the
there is
potential
one.
horrors of the deep. Deep protection tells us that the deep was originally a peaceful and sacred place, its deacons wearing dark red robes denoting their blessing of fire. Over time, however, the deep became the final rest for many abhorrent things, and indeed, human dregs were likely some of those things, as the dregs of humanity are said to sink to the lowest depths imaginable, forming the bedrock.
Yeah,
of the world.
I'm pretty certain
Those
there
who
is one.
linger too long on the brink of the deep
If I'm
will
wrong,
often slip, and lurking within the deep are insects which tear open the skin and burrow into flesh. Eventually, those dedicated to sealing away the horrors of the deep succumb to its very power. An example of this is their Tome of Knowledge, which was originally intended to teach divine protection, but it had dark tales added to its pages, making it a thing most profane. And along with this descent, presumably, was Aldrich, Saint of the Deep.
A right and proper cleric, only he developed a habit of devouring men. He ate so many that he bloated like a drowned pig, then softened into sludge. So they stuck him in the Cathedral of the Deep.
Aldrich was such a neat concept. He was essentially a slime.
For virtue, but for might.
Aldrich was this simple saint who became a hugely powerful being, eventually chosen.
This is Dark Souls lore.
Maybe not.
This is Dark Souls
to
3
become
lore
Lord of
specifically.
Cinder and Link the Fire. The deacon skirt tells us that the deacons tended to the flame, and I'm perhaps inclined to believe
Pre-Elden Ring
that
stuff.
maybe they were tending to the flame of Aldrich when he was a Lord of Cinder. And whether this is true or not, we do know that the deacons eventually succumbed to the horrors of the
Yeah,
deep,
this character that I'm painting here is
tending to
from
the
Dark
flame,
Souls. It's
nor the
Solaire
faith
of
could
Astora,
save them. You would have noticed
adherent
that
of the
many
Lord of
deacons cast
Sunlight.
Dark Souls sorceries, which were imparted to them by Archdeacon MacDonald, an adherent of Aldrich who was largely
Praise the sun.
responsible for the corruption of the deacons. Archdeacon MacDonald delighted in the cathedral's stagnating souls. For him, they represented the glorious bedrock of this world. Under the guidance of Archdeacon MacDonald, these deacons became both clergymen and sorcerers. The Archdeacon's sin, as it's called, was to channel faith for sorcery, which transformed his staff from a symbol of religious authority into a catalyst of dark sorceries. The deacons
Here for the memes,
faith,
exactly.
but it was not in fire.
Let's do the matte white
Saint of the Deep.
to transform the cloth into white.
Upon his resurrection, Aldrich, like many lords
Oh, well,
of
first we
Cinder,
actually need to do the back.
ruminated on
Sorry,
the
one
fate
second.
of the fire. For him, it inspired visions. He saw beyond the age of fire to the age of deep waters and the coming age of the deep sea. Filled with new purpose, he knew what he had to do. He would devour the gods himself. When we get to the Deacons of the Deep, we expect to find
I also like this
Aldrich
model,
in his
how
coffin,
wide they
but
make his back
he's
look.
already
He's
left for
this
his
in this
own
one. Solaire is
body.
properly
The
jacked.
deacons here are led by Archdeacon Royce, who is one of the 3 archdeacons who remained behind to keep eternal watch over his master's coffin, hoping that one day he would return. Aldrich left behind a small doll in his coffin that Pontiff Sullivan gave to his most valued subjects. Wherever you go, the
I'm surprised that not as many people like the or know about Dark Souls.
Is your home. When Aldrich left,
Not because that's a bad thing or anything like that. I'm just surprised. It was such a pivotal
and
game,
MacDonald, like many other deacons, is obese.
for
He's huge,
at least my
and
childhood.
I see that as a legacy of Aldrich, who derived power from gluttony. They're clearly mimicking him. In Anor Londo, Archdeacon
Dark Souls
MacDonald
is
lead the
fire.
Aldrich faithful, who are defenders, who exist to ensure that Aldrich, devourer of gods, remains undisturbed. And when we come across Aldrich, we realize why he wants to be undisturbed. Because Pontiff Sullivan, with a devourer of gods by his side, has imprisoned a god of the old royalty in the abandoned cathedral to be fed to the devourer. Gwyndolin, son of Gwyn and prior leader of the Dark Moon Knights, was gradually devoured by Aldrich. As Aldrich slowly devoured the god of the Dark Moon, he dreamt. In this dream, he saw the form of a young, pale girl in hiding, and we know this is Yorshka, who was sister to Gwyndolin, and a half-breed who is parallel to Priscilla from Dark Souls 1. But the interesting thing about this is the dream that Aldrich had, because apparently Aldrich only needs to dream about someone to learn their skills, for he uses Priscilla's life hunt scythe in battle. And this
I love
fact that he
Isaac.
can learn
Isaac is also an amazing game.
has some interesting implications.
No doubt.
Because Aldrich is clearly wielding a Gravelord greatsword upon the end of his spear, which lends credit towards this theory that Aldrich has devoured Nito in some capacity, and he is called the Devourer of Gods, plural, after all. So another question becomes, did Aldrich also devour Nito?
Alright, now let's do the Matt White.
He has the wispy Nito-like cloak with skulls within it, but I think it's more likely that these skulls are just remnants of other humans that he's devoured. You have to remember there is no concrete evidence that he has devoured Nito, and I personally think it's more likely that he simply dreamt up the Gravelord spell in a similar manner to which he dreamt up the Life Hunt scythe from Yorshka. But what you think shapes the story here, so let me know. So, that's all of the Pontiff's lackeys explained.
The
biggest unanswered questions here,
Gravelord Nito
in other videos, is what exactly the relationship between Salavan and
Oh,
the
wow.
Deacons is. and
1000%.
in what
Wow.
order this
I've never been as good. I've never been good enough for that.
played out, because timeline is always one of the hardest things to get right in the Soul series. But the biggest curiosity, in my opinion, and the one
So
that
this Matt White
really
is turning
interests
the
me
cloth into
are
a white
Aldrich's
cloth.
visions of the age of the deep sea. From a being, remember, that has visions so accurate he can learn spells from those visions. So, in a franchise that's entirely self-contained within this Age of Fire and its cycles, this vision of the deep sea, it's pretty much the only mention of a different future. And its appearance in these descriptions feels so out of place that I almost expect it to be referenced in the future in some capacity. Assuming it's not just a reference to Bloodborne, maybe this indicates what Miyazaki is doing next on one of his projects, or maybe we'll see something related to this in the DLC. Moving on. Something set Sullivan
For this tutorial's purposes, I probably won't draw the sun on it, just for the purposes of the tutorial, because I want to be able to, if I drew the sun, it would be here for another couple of hours, which I can't do.
Took root within him. The profaned flame. The origins of
Plus, I'm also not good at
We do
drawing,
know a few things. We know it's an unfading flame.
but we all know who
that
this
it can
character
be
is.
manipulated, and we know that it swallows the hearts of those who wield it. The Pontiff himself imbued his greatsword with this fire, and he also gave it to his holy knights. Shortly
a
after he
light
did this, the fire
blaze.
witches had their hearts swallowed by the flame. And as one last example,
With
of
that-
its
with that
corrupting influence,
attitude,
the
yeah.
handmaidens who wield it down in the profaned capital, their dagger says that they take pleasure in wounding others, and of course, the Pontiff himself doesn't
Doing a little
exactly
glaze
have
of the
a very good moral
mid-tone
compass. But
tan
apart from that, we
in
know
the
precious little about
blue
the
section,
profaned
just
flame.
to
And this has been the hardest part of the script to write.
lighten
for
it up
me,
just a little
because
bit,
The profaned flame defies
it's not
all
so dark.
categorization as flames that have existed previously in the series. So I'm going to work on my theories on it, and while I'm doing that, I'll list those theories in the description, because I could talk about this thing for a very long time without actually getting anywhere. But the final thing, and maybe the most important thing we know about the profaned flame, is that Yorm the Giant became a Lord of Cinder to put it to rest. Now, clearly, Yorm was not successful, because the profaned flame has infiltrated almost all of Irithyll and set a lot of events in motion. This just adds even more tragedy to Yorm's tale. Yorm is the descendant of an ancient conqueror, and was asked by the very people once subjugated to lead them, serving as both a weighty blade and a stone-hard shield. Yorm fought unflinchingly as a one-man vanguard, but one day he lost the one he wished to protect. In response,
Yorm was also an
Shield
excellent
added
character.
a left-handed notch to his machete instead, so he could two-hand it, for he no longer had anything left to protect. All the while, his human subjects appeared quite disrespectful of him. They were insincere when they called him a lord, and they doubted him. He is called Lonely Yorm in his cinders, and perhaps that's because he lost the one he wished to protect, or perhaps because he didn't have the love of his people.
Smaug, that would be good. That would be a good one.
Problem in the capital.
Hang on, now we gotta do the subsequent greens.
Become a Lord of Cinder to put the profaned flame.
One that I just used was
I don't know why Yorm decided
the angel green.
it's
It's part of the deep greens.
Because when he did this, fire rained down from the sky and incinerated naught but human flesh. This is an interesting insight into who the linking of the fire consumes. It consumed humans and humans alone. And
all 100% safe for work. I might have to hit you up.
all around Yorm's chamber. Before he linked the fire, however, Yorm left behind 2 storm rulers, which was a legendary greatsword.
What do you mean impossible?
As the Giant Slayer, for the residual strength of storm that brings giants to their knees. So this thing could kill giants, and one he gave to the humans who doubted him. He called them out on their cowardly words and gave them a weapon capable of killing him. And the other storm
now we're just highlighting the leaves, so we're picking out the leaves here.
Friend was Sigurd, who journeys to the profaned capital in order to uphold his promise and slay his old friend. Presumably, Yorm asked Sigurd to kill him if he ever betrayed his duty, and Sigurd does so, seeing that Yorm has not returned to link the fire once again. The profaned capital also had its sorcerers, who claimed heirship to the legacy of the renowned scholar Big Hat Logan, even going so far as
how many of them are DBZ?
The type of staff he used. But halfway across the world, I know of 2 crystal sages who emulated him even more closely. These crystal sages served as spiritual guides to the scholars of Lothric's Grand Archives, and one of them went on to ally with the Undead Legion. The Undead Legion of Farron was a caravan of undead, dedicated to the eradication of the Abyss wherever it was found. The Abyss Watchers, as they were called, follow the duty and the form of the Wolf Knight of Dark Souls 1, known as Artorias the Abyss Walker. They are essentially his legacy. They made their home in Farron Keep, and high above Farron Keep lies an emaciated old wolf. The Abyss Watchers, for their hunting of the Abyss, they required some art that went beyond any existing art. Wolf's Blood, the legacy of Artorias, provided just that. Their pointed steel helm became shirked as this sinister omen by the masses, because...
Okay, and then we'll do the final highlight on the green grass.
You knew you were in trouble, because
it's going to be wild green.
Taking out the Abyss. And indeed,
their
home in Farron might just be set above such a kingdom, for below are the catacombs of Karthus, and sealed within a goblet
very pale.
Deep below in the catacombs is the encounter
and it's going to be very light.
Wolnir, a ruler who succumbed to the Abyss. Before succumbing to the Abyss, Wolnir was a conqueror. He ruled over the people of Karthus of the Sands, formidable warriors
just
who
to
were
give it
masters of the curved sword,
some character.
and also of pyromancies that
right on
the
the edges
of their curved swords. The swordsmen attached great value to victory at all costs, for where was the honor in death? They lived for their High Lord Wolnir, who was conqueror of most lands known to their people, and yeah, you can see why they loved him. In Wolnir's time, there were other lords who had their crowns rightfully bequeathed upon them, but Wolnir brought them to their knees and ground their crowns to dust, forming his own crown from theirs, for he...
Are you guys understanding, by the way, this kind of volumetric highlighting that I've been doing?
Reminds me
I haven't been doing a good job of explaining this specifically, but it's...
Anyway, somehow...
I will in the video.
Fell to
but it's essentially just like kind of a three-step, like dark, medium, light, in a smaller and smaller area.
there is a darkness below Wolnir.
It's
and
easy on this
struggling
particular
to
model
consume
because the
him. But Wolnir had
structures
this
are
whole
pre-made
sort of
for you, meaning that these
three
leaves have
armlets
like
which he had stripped
literal
from the
3D
corpses of
space to
clerics,
them.
and these things
So I'm
gave him
easily
some
just picking out the
semblance
edges of them, but it can be
Of
tough if
course,
you're doing it on a
destroy the
smooth
bracelet,
surface.
and the abyss finally consumes him. While he was in the abyss, however, Wolnir was not inactive. Black Serpent is this pyromancy that was discovered from the abyss by Wolnir, which went on to inspire the black arts of his Grave Wardens. The Grave Warden Pyromancy Tome was developed.
What do you mean if you could
by
only
the
see?
Grave Wardens who
Can you not see?
discovered this
Is it not recording?
And going
Have I
back
been
up for a
painting
second,
blind this whole
Wolnir
time?
and the abyss, their proximity to the abyss
God, that would be
Watchers
so.
probably isn't
That would be
coincidence.
terrible. Okay.
In fact, it makes quite a lot of sense for Karthus to be one of the kingdoms that the Abyss Watchers toppled. So let's go back up to the Abyss Watchers for a second and see if this theory holds any weight. Eventually,
Okay, let's do
Abyss
the belt.
Watchers became Lords of Cinder. Their shared wolf's blood served their mandate as lords. Essentially, it met the requirements. To gain access to the Abyss Watchers, you have to extinguish 3 flames, and I always wondered why this ritual existed. It felt very video gamey and out of place.
Still in Plato's Cave,
I went
exactly.
through once more recently, and I looked really
I
closely at
only
engravings
see the
behind each
shadows
flame.
of people.
One looks like the 4 kings, one looks like Nito, and one looks like the Bed of Chaos. 3 of the main lords in Dark Souls 1, and these were the souls you had to collect to gain access to Gwyn and open a giant stone door. So these are likely here to symbolize that, right? We're extinguishing 3 flames and we're opening the door that explains the ritual. Anyway, that's more a piece of trivia than anything. After the Legion's Watchers became Lords of Cinder, the wolf blood dried up, and Farron was consumed by a festering wood. Dark wraiths began to roam, the keep fell to ruins, and, as suggested by many of you in my lore through, the Abyss Watchers, upon being resurrected to link the fire once more, may have been affected by the Abyss as well. So here's the theory. The Abyss Watchers were driven to seek out the Abyss, right? Well, what if, upon their resurrection, the Abyss far below in the catacombs of Karthus crept into the Abyss Watchers themselves? This would explain why the Abyss Watchers are locked into endless combat with themselves, because they're driven to seek out the Abyss, but they
Wolf's
also
blood,
can't die,
yes.
so they're locked into endless combat. When I read this theory in the comments, something else clicked as well. The Wolf Knight armor, which belonged to Artorias, who fell to the Abyss, says that the armor of the Abyss Watchers suggests their own eventual end. So the game is drawing a parallel here between Artorias and the Abyss Watchers. It's saying that the armor of the Abyss Watchers shows that they're falling to the Abyss as well. And here's the really interesting thing. When you look closely at their armor, you realize it has black tendrils of the Abyss rising up. So the armor is showing us that they fell to the Abyss. Probably. This theory isn't concrete, and no one should...
That's how you
take it
earn
as
your
such,
professorship.
But I think it's the best explanation for their infighting. It's my favorite explanation, anyway. And mostly, this one was all you
Alright,
guys,
and
so
then
thank
Solaire's shield is white
you. Onwards to Lothric.
with the
The
sun
Knights of
and then
Lothric were
gold
hunters of
trim.
dragons, explaining their affinity with lightning and why they worship the sun. They have since tamed dragons, and with their drakes, they once crushed anything that threatened their shores.
Okay.
The
Let's
knight
do
has
the
served as
sword
one of
first
the
really
3
quick.
pillars of Lothric
We'll
since
do-
ancient times, and it shares place alongside the wyverns as a
We
symbol.
do it in a very simple
However, tales of
non-metallic
dragon
metal
slayers
scheme, so
are
that
now
means it's
a
going to
rare
be
thing,
big
and
chunks.
they're
So we're going
told only
to
in fragments and
do
whispers
one
in
side
remote regions.
light,
The Dragonslayer armor
one side
lost its
shadow.
master long ago, but it still remembers the sporting hunts.
Only thing
they
that we
shared
have to make
together.
sure of.
When we fight against it, the armor retains its master's fighting style, but now it has a new master, the Pilgrim Butterfly. Now, the soul of the dragon.
We're gonna trick the eye with maximize reflections.
So
And
speculation.
what I mean by that
abounds
is
when
we're going
you
to do something
talk
like
about
this.
them. When you look up at them closely, though, closer than the game intends you to ever get, you'll see that they're flesh and bone, and they're almost bent backwards with a ribcage jutting outwards. Now, their name is one of the biggest clues that we have, and the word pilgrim makes me think of the pilgrims of Londor
And
who
like-
all died on their way to the peak of Lothric. And just like these pilgrims, these pilgrim butterflies fly upwards to the peak of Lothric as well. And in both these cases, with the pilgrims and the pilgrim butterflies, we have no real idea why either of them are going up. So perhaps we'll learn more if we ever get Londor-themed DLC, and I think that's pretty likely. I'm going to list 2 other theories in the description about the butterflies.
Keeping the direction of the reflection sort of the same.
Next is the archives.
Something like that, and then we'll make it
is Prince Lothric
darker
his brother Lorien.
In the unhighlighted areas, so we'll use the mix of black and the ironclad gray
lords being resurrected, and I believe
to make the shadow really deep on the bottom side, so it looks like it's reflecting
linking the fire might have been what set all of the desperate resurrections
even more intensely.
into motion. This is just a theory, but I think it's backed up by most of these descriptions and this dialogue.
Prince Lothric is in your hands. Please save his soul. Tell him what he must be, a lord.
So, there's Prince Lothric and Lorien, his brother. Lorien is the eldest, and before he was crippled, he was a knight who single-handedly slayed a demon prince, the victory eternally scorching his sword with flame. The Cinders of a Lord state that the Lothric bloodline was obsessed with creating a worthy heir. They needed someone to link the
apply that reflection really quick.
For some reason, Prince Lorien did not suffice, so they put their faith in their next born, Prince Lothric, as his throne states, last hope of his line. Prince Lothric, destined to be a lord of
like
Cinder,
that.
was born into
And then we'll turn it to metal
used in ancient prayer, and they are all
here by doing the Brigand Gray. So let's do the Brigand Gray along the edge.
He was their last hope and meant.
So this is a super simple
but some things will remain
version of non-metallic metal on a sword.
Linking the fire proved impossible, so the family resorted to unspeakable means. Descriptions don't say or imply what these unspeakable means are, so that's up to us to guess at. But after mentioning these unspeakable means, the Cinder description goes on to say that the path to linking the fire is a cursed one indeed. So Prince Lothric was cursed. With what, we don't know, but Lorien embraced his brother's curse, leaving him mute and crippled. It is said that Lorien, the one who embraced the curse, did so willingly and embraced his fate. When we kill Lorien in the boss fight, Lothric resurrects him, saying, "For that is our curse." So maybe being unable to die
kind of super quickly make the skid.
Curse,
the skid for his hands. We forget that his hands are kind of exposed.
Remain among
the Tism approval. It's what I need.
After becoming
that is what I need.
The soul of the twin princes says that they
otherwise, how am I supposed to put out this video?
Lords of Cinder and settled down.
I couldn't. That's how.
Away to watch the fire fade
Could not.
from a distance.
But I need to do this side too. Hang on.
Nearly inseparable. So why did Lothric grow to
Hang
despise
on.
and reject his duty as a Lord of Cinder? Well, it's very likely due to a man named as the First of the Scholars. Soulstream says that he was alleged to be a private mentor of the royal prince, and that he doubted the linking of the fire. So it's very likely that this scholar was the one who made Lothric reject his fate as a Lord of Cinder. And there is so much more to the tale of Lothric, but we don't have time. I want to talk about the kingdom, about the royal family, but this video is only about the main bosses, so I still have to mention Osiris, King of Lothric, and his wife, the Queen, so please subscribe and look out for the optional bosses lore video. And the final main boss, the being we fight after the Firekeeper chastises the lords for going without thrones, is the soul of Cinder itself, located within the kiln of the first flame. The soul of Cinder is actually a fairly easy being to explain. Ever since Lord Gwyn, the first Lord of Cinder, many exalted lords have linked the first flame, and it is their very souls that have manifested themselves as defender of the flame. The soul of Cinder is their deific manifestation. More specifically, it's clear that the soul of Cinder is this conglomerate of players themselves, us from previous games and cycles who have linked the fire. Using the ninja flip ring from Dark Souls 1, curved swords, pyromancies, sorceries, miracles, and in Phase 2, the music shifts to this twisted tribute of Gwyn's theme as he takes on the First Lord's fighting style. The kiln also, it represents the state of the world if you look behind you.
Sorry, I'm focusing.
It's a city twisted and distorted and folded in
Focusing.
on itself, just like the entire game and bosses we just journeyed through. Dark Souls 3 contains the histories, the people, and the lands of the Abyss Watcher's age, of the Pontiff and Aldrich's age, of Yorm's age, and the story of Lothric that literally seems to have called forth old Lords of Cinder to link the fire once again. And as you stand in front of the flame, 4 choices lay before you, more than any previous game. But that's a video and a story for another time.
They were very far apart. They were pretty. I think. God, how many years was it between Dark Souls 1 and 2?
Watching this video,
somebody will have to look that up.
Now, so
but it feels like it was a long time.
Sticking it through. This video took a really long time to make. And the major shout out in this video has to go to a guy who runs a YouTube channel named AGR Cactus. He taught me how to use a lot of these camera tricks, and this video would not look half as good if it wasn't for his guidance.
Kind of, yeah.
There's this video called The Beauty of Lothric, which really shows off how beautiful this game is when you look at it from angles that the game developers didn't exactly expect us to look at it from. So do me a favor and check it out and subscribe to him. It's crazy. I've probably been talking for about half an hour now, and I haven't covered nearly as much as I would have liked to have covered. So for that, we have the Lore Through series, which is dedicated to being really in-depth as we go through every single area in the game, and to bring out the characters and their stories and what their stories relate to, we have Prepare to Cry, and for everything else we have the Secrets videos. But next is a video just like this one, which gives you an overview of the
Alright, let's
optional
apply some
bosses.
skin tone.
And whether you're a patron or a viewer, thank you for watching, and I'll talk to you next time.
Because for some reason, Solaris goes barehanded. He's like, gloves for what? Keep your hands soft?
Lord Gwyn's firstborn son was a god of war, who inherited the sunlight from his father. The power of sunlight is manifest as lightning, and it's highly effective against dragons. And Gwyn's firstborn son was once a dragon slayer, who fought against his father's ancient enemy. And as you know, the ancient dragons once ruled over an age of grey, but Gwyn discovered their weakness and he struck them down with great bolts of lightning. Later, advancements in arms would lead to lightning-imbued spears with a cross pommel, which were developed to be stamped or thrust deep into the flesh of dragons. The Firstborn's Dragon Slayer sword spear was the first of such weapons, for the Firstborn had respect only for arms and nothing else. At some point during the war, however, Gwyn's Firstborn had a change of heart. He switched sides and sacrificed everything to ally himself with the ancient dragons. And unlike a lot of Souls,
such a waste of time.
This part of history is actually described as missing for a reason. For after he sided with the ancient dragons, Lord Gwyn's Firstborn was expunged from the annals of history, and his deific status was rescinded. He was no longer considered a god, no longer in the books of history, and today even his name is not known. If you played around the time that Dark Souls 1 was released, the identity of the Firstborn was a complete mystery to all of us. All we knew was that he was Gwyn's Firstborn, that he was a god of war, and that he was a core part of the Warriors of Sunlight. So players puzzled over missing statues next to Gwyn, they puzzled over broken monuments to the Warriors of Sunlight, and we even guessed that the Firstborn himself could have just been a simple man from Astora who fought for the sun. And it is true that the god of war continued to watch.
That's true. When you notice it, it's even more jarring.
Now, finally, see where he went and why. The nameless king, firstborn son of Gwyn, heir of sunlight and god of war, left the miracle sunlight blade upon his father's coffin, perhaps as a final farewell. Now, this part of the Nameless King's history, it's been purposefully erased, but some players do think that traces of his existence still remain out in the world and cannot be erased. In fact, it's a popular theory, and I'll leave a link to a few sources in the description, that the Nameless King is referenced in the Faram armor set, which is this plate set that was named after a god of war. The mighty Lion Knights of Ferosa, worshippers of the war god Faram, wore heavy armor and were feared for their two-handed swordplay. This armor was blessed by the war god Faram. Ferosa would later fall to conflict with their neighbors, and the legacy of the Faram Knights fell with it, so the information here is also lacking. But is the Nameless King the war god Faram? Well, that's up to you to decide. Both are described as war gods, both place
We're getting there, we're almost done.
The Nameless King
a few
had to be
things,
king of
small
some
things
realm,
left to
and
do.
The Faram set is blessed and named after a god of war, who is possibly the one emblazoned upon the helm as a knight facing a dragon. Also, both the Nameless King and the Kingdom of Ferosa fell from power, so hey, whatever you believe, this is a classic example of Souls leaving just enough clues that you can choose to believe or not choose to believe, so no one is provably right or wrong here. But moving on to what we do know, the Nameless King tamed a storm drake, upon which he led a lifetime of battle. Assumedly, this partnership with the storm drake was a part of the Firstborn allying with the ancient dragons. I have a few suspicions that the storm drake might also be known as a giant horned Oni, which are found in Eastern lands, as the Oni Slayer Great Arrow describes. And it's the only creature in the game that really fits the description of an Oni, whatever creature that is, and it's certainly a drake that looks very much like a foreign offshoot of most other Draconid creatures in Souls. It looks nothing like them, really. Oni are also found in an eastern land, and Ferosa is in an eastern land as well, so maybe there's something here, but just speculation.
Now we're doing
When
the
the storm drake fell,
shield.
the king claimed its soul, as was customary in the Age of the Gods. In a giant flash, we see the Nameless King become imbued with the drake's power of the storm, which is really reminiscent
I'm
of
roughly
Ornstein
doing the
and
gold
Snow,
trim
absorbing one another in their
on the
boss
outside
fight in
before
Dark
we
Souls
get to the
1,
white
as the Age
exterior.
of the Gods was drawing to a close there.
Believe
Dark
it, there's
Souls
no
3's
lip on
description
this,
of
so it's going to
Smoug's
be
great
easier to
hammer
kind of
tells
go
us that
from the
Smough
inside
was
out.
the last knight to remain at his post, guarding the ruined cathedral. Ornstein, on the other hand, he long guarded the ruined cathedral, but he left the land in search of the Nameless King. So
First, we're
you're
going to put down a
probably
layer
asking
of gray,
yourself,
so it's easy to
how
put down
did
the
Ornstein
white.
leave the cathedral if I killed him in Dark Souls 1 and then again in Dark Souls 2? Well, remember, Dark Souls 3 is the game that very openly references the fact that events are doomed to repeat themselves. More than any previous game, this is a game about cycles, and the Lords of Cinder who contributed to their own cycle. We see so many cycles laid before us, so yes, a lot of narratives and plots in the game have been recycled. In a way, that's what the games are about. But in Dark Souls 3, it's nice because a lot of these plots are
While
further
that's
along
drying,
than
we'll
ever
get to the
before.
next skin
Take
tone.
Ornstein, for example. In this timeline, he survived until he tired of standing around in a cathedral, and he left. For during this dragonless age where he stood in the cathedral, Ornstein the Dragon Slayer must have felt quite bereft of purpose, so he left in search of the Nameless King. So the question becomes, did he intend to kill the Nameless King, or did he intend to serve him? Ornstein's set in Dark Souls 1 describes Ornstein as the captain of the 4 knights of Lord Gwyn, but the Leo Ring of Dark Souls 3 describes him as the first knight of the Sun's eldest born, the Nameless King. So, since I find it hard to believe that he could be both the captain of the guard to Gwyn and simultaneously the first knight of the Firstborn, I think it's most likely that Ornstein abandoned his duty as captain of the guard and then decided to serve the Nameless King instead, after he was exiled. But the best evidence that Ornstein remained a friend to the Nameless King is the Sacred Oath description, which labels him as not just the Nameless King's first knight,
there we
but
go.
his faithful first knight. Since the game is clarifying something like this, then I'm going to believe that he is loyal to the Nameless King. So Ornstein tracks down and pledges allegiance to the Nameless King. But what becomes of Ornstein after his arrival in Archdragon Peak? We find his armor and his weapon after the Nameless King fight, but it's just discarded to the side. It's not upon a corpse, it's not in a chest, and this is strange for Souls.
Good night, Cheese.
Right?
Thanks for hanging out.
I don't think there's many examples of this.
I really appreciate it, truly.
So sure, it wouldn't make sense for the armor to be upon a corpse, but items like this are at least meant to be in chests. So, to me, it signifies that Ornstein didn't want to preserve anything at all from his past, or perhaps that he discarded his armor in the same way that many people here do, to begin the transformation into a dragon. So, is Ornstein
Not being
alive?
too careful
Is he
with the
dead?
white here because we do need it to
By
be
the
thick
Nameless
enough to be
King?
opaque.
Or did he become one of the dragons in the shrine? His fate is left open for you to decide. So we've mentioned the spell Sacred Oath before, and its description reads, Sacred Oath, a miracle devised by warriors of the sun,
And take at least
tells
one
the
more
tale
coat
of
of the white.
sun's firstborn, his faithful first knight, and the brave dragon slayer who served them both. The brave dragon slayer who served them both. So a few
Looking like white
dragon slayers
frosting.
could
Yeah, it's going to
fit this
be
description, but I think
pretty,
it's most likely that this was Havel.
pretty white,
Havel
but we're going to go
was a
down,
battlefield compatriot
down a
of Gwyn,
step.
the First Lord.
We're going
He
to put a
was
glaze of
his
gray
armor
over it.
Carved from solid rock, and he wields the tooth of an everlasting dragon. Havel was followed by warriors who replicated his armaments and his weaponry and never flinched nor retreated from battle. Havel was the arch-enemy of Seath the Scaleless, which was the dragon who betrayed his own and allied with Lord Gwyn. This must have placed Havel in an awkward spot. He's a battlefield compatriot of Lord Gwyn, and yet Gwyn allied with a magic-wielding, traitorous dragon that Havel hates. In Dark Souls 1, it's implied that Havel was locked away by a dear friend, and all that time ago, we theorized that it was Gwyn himself who locked his hollowed friend away. We also talked about how a piece of occult weaponry was capable of killing the gods, and it was locked away in a basement.
Want a new style of Guild Wars 1?
Gear.
Yeah, I loved it too. I played Guild Wars 1 for many years. Many years.
Havel remained locked in that basement, but in Dark Souls 3,
That was one of my favorite systems of all time. I haven't seen anybody replicate it. Truly.
In Archdragon Peak, and we can easily theorize that
Guild Wars is an old
was the
MMO.
Dragon Slayer mentioned in the Tale of
From like 2006.
A brave dragon
No, before.
slayer,
2004?
keyword being brave, who never flinched or retreated
When
from
did Prophecies
battle,
come out?
and had good cause to take up arms with the Nameless King, who was another leader positioned to rebel against Gwyn and Seath the Scaleless. Of course, to play devil's advocate, Havel could also be there to slay the Nameless King. He is overlooking the corpse of an ancient dragon, after all, but as a final piece of proof that he's on the Nameless King's side, the half-dragon summoners, the ones with the frilly necks that summon phantoms to fight against you, they summon warriors of Havel to fight. Also, I want to point out that they summon a half-naked dude wielding Ricard's rapier and wearing a crown, so I'm assuming this is Ricard as well, and it links Prince Ricard to a king, it links him to the Way of the Dragon, and it links him to yet another castle full of half-dragon snake creatures. So, that is pretty much everything surrounding the Nameless King explained. So what do you believe? The story is really open-ended.
Yeah, it came out 2005.
I've given you most of the raw information you need to tell your own story. But regardless, now you know.
Gotta let that white dry all the way before we put the gray on.
Separated himself from the fire-linking fiasco, and assumedly.
But we're essentially done with everything else, except for I always say
So we
I
just
always say
talked
that
about
except
how
for,
Helen hated
and then there's one more thing
named Seath the
because we have to
Scales,
do
a
the
traitorous,
rest of the
mad
red on the
pale
feather
drake whose twisted soul clearly lives on in
just to give it
Osiris,
some
the
highlights.
consumed king. Osiris was once king of Lothric, married
I'm
to
gonna
a
do that with a
queen
little
who was
pure red
revered as a goddess of fertility
and just a little bit of
and
pink
bounty,
near the top.
much like Guinevere from Dark Souls 1, and as we know from the previous
I
video,
am gonna do the sun.
the Lothric
Don't worry.
line was obsessed with creating a worthy heir and the right of the linking of the fire. Osiris, however, in his later years, became fascinated with dragons. His research led him to the heretics of the Grand Archives of Lothric, where he discovered the twisted worship of Seath the Pale Drake. Eventually, he discovered the research that was done by Big Hat Logan, who you'll remember from Dark Souls 1. He was this legendary scholar who went mad delving into Seath's sorceries. So Osiris was inspired, he was edified by Big Hat Logan, and he even learnt how to perform the crystal breath of Seath the Scaleless. He was transforming into this dragon, he was changing, and behind Osiris we see the rest of his chambers, and they're full of dragon scales and dead man serpents, and there's even a Drakeblood Knight in the Way of the Dragon pose. Osiris himself was clearly somewhat successful at turning into an ancient dragon, and given his admiration for Seath, it seems that he took on Seath's soul aspects. Osiris became this blind, mutated pale drake just like Seath, and he was obsessed with this notion that he could use his royal blood for a, and I quote, greater purpose. So he fathered this crossbreed child with his queen and named him Ocelot. After giving birth to Ocelot, her youngest child, the Queen of Lothric quietly disappeared. Let's talk about the Queen a little bit. This Queen either takes after Guinevere or is
And we'll do a little
Guinevere,
pink peek.
because in Dark Souls 1, Guinevere left the ailing land of Lordran in exactly the same manner that this queen leaves the ailing land of Lothric. Also, Guinevere of Dark Souls 1 also pushes the chosen undead to link the fire, and in Dark Souls 3, the Queen of Lothric is obsessed with finding people to link the fire, even placing powerful rings in the untended graves in the hope that one day an unkindled would rise to link the fire. So the parallels between these two are undeniable, and with the flame fading in Dark Souls 3 and this pus of man spreading across the castle, the Grand Archives, where Osiris learnt all of his knowledge, closed its doors for good, and Osiris remained, walled off behind this garden, clutching his dragon crossbreed Ocelot. Many assassins were dispatched to his domain, but none returned.
There we go. Nice, nice feather.
His resilience to the
and is the white
protection
dry
of the
yet?
dragon.
Not quite. It really needs to be completely dry. I'm going to help it along with the airbrush here,
Cradling his invisible infant crossbreed.
just to help dry it up.
He's a very vocal boss, which is rare, and I think we need to dissect every line of his dialogue.
You ignorant slaves. Finally taken notice, have you?
It essentially just needs to be dry enough to where I can paint the sun on it.
Ocelot, child of dragons. Well, I will not give him up, for he is all that I have.
So first off, he calls us ignorant slaves, and I think this means that he's arrogant and he sees his subjects as slaves, or perhaps he's referring to us being slaves to the linking of the fire.
We'll start with the yellow sun.
Then he says, "Finally taken notice, have you?" Which explains how he hasn't been disturbed for a very long time. He is out of the way, he's not a main boss, and he's also behind...
Which is actually going to start with a little bit of an orange yellow.
...within a locked-off castle. We know it's been a long time because the main boss we fight in this area also gives us...
Because we need to build up those colors.
Osiris believes that this crossbreed child named Ocelot is worth taking notice of. But is he, really? Ocelot is the crying baby in the boss fight, and
if we could see it, we would probably see that it's a crossbreed between a dragon and the royal bloodline, and crossbreeds of this type have existed in the past. 3 others we know of are the Emerald Herald, Yorshka, locked up in the tower, and most notably Priscilla from Dark Souls 1. All that time ago in Dark Souls 1, we theorized that Priscilla was a crossbreed between a lord and a dragon. Specifically, a lot of people said that she was the offspring of Seath the Scaleless and Guinevere, and that parentage is really strongly mirrored here between Osiris and his queen, who's basically Guinevere. And maybe I should have mentioned this earlier, but Priscilla also had the ability to turn invisible, which explains why Ocelot, the baby he appears to be cradling, cannot be seen. And if Osiris is blind, like Seath was, then perhaps he's not even aware that his child is invisible. Priscilla also had this ability called Life Hunt, which apparently the gods feared. Presumably Life Hunt, though it is never properly described.
Adding the sun's rays.
And maybe the threat of this was what made the Queen of Lothric leave her home this time around. Because it is easy to believe that Osiris would turn against his own kingdom. After all, Seath's soul line, as I'm calling it, they've all been betrayers. Seath betrayed the ancient dragons, the Duke of the Writhing Ruins in Dark Souls 2 set spiders upon the townsfolk, and I think it's most likely that Osiris hoped that this crossbreed child would be this powerful weapon with Life Hunt, based on how he talks about it during the fight. However, this crossbreed didn't turn out as Osiris hoped, clearly, and Osiris's plan, maybe not such a great one. He is always referenced as deluded and mad.
Ah, dear little Ocelot, where have you gone? Are you hiding from me? Come out.
Ocelot!
Don't be afraid. You were born a child of dragons. What could you possibly fear? Now, show yourself, Ocelot. My dear little Ocelot.
Originally,
talking about Guild Wars? Guild Wars is still playable. They actually just redid it. It's called Guild Wars Reforged.
As he nears death, he seems to become increasingly frustrated with his crossbreed.
I was playing it recently, actually. I like it.
He appears even to smash this baby he was cradling upon the ground, and he reverts to a more feral stage as he fights for his life against us. The baby, however, it continues to cry even after this, so yeah, maybe it's still alive. So, what are the consequences of Osiris's treachery? Well, the collapse of his rule was probably this fair part of the collapse of the castle, and even of Lothric Kingdom. Plus, the passive man is concentrated a lot in his garden, but apart from that, like the Nameless King, I can't see
Alright, here we
his
go.
decisions had this huge impact upon the world.
I think we're just about done.
In the previous video, we talked about how the Lothric bloodline resorted to
Just filling in the sun.
to find a worthy heir to link the fire. And my last thoughts on this boss are
Not going to do the eyes and the
perhaps
face.
Ocelot was
I'm just not good enough.
with similar intent
I hate to say.
the dragon crossbreed of Dark Souls 2 that
But I also because I gotta get to bed. It's about 11. It's about 11 o'clock for me.
is whether Osiris also fathered Lorien and Lothric, who are the 2 children of the royal bloodline.
And Mrs.
who
Golem
refused
is
to
calling
light
me.
fire. Lorien, the eldest, he was raised as a knight, and before his brother's curse crippled him, he was famed for single-handedly slaying the demon prince, leaving his sword eternally scorched with fire. I'd wager that this demon prince is probably related to the old demon king, if only because they're the
In the
only
last-
demon royalty that we've ever seen in the game. And if these 2 are related, then maybe the arena that you fight the old demon king in is also related. There are piles of dead demon kin corpses, which signifies that some battle took place here. And of all these demons, the shriveled
Couple
old
of
demon
steps.
king is the only one to
We'll be
remain.
done.
Now, like a clump of burnt ash, he's the last living witness of the chaos of Izalith.
The Chaos Flame of Izalith was born when the Witch of Izalith attempted to use her own soul to create another first flame. Instead, she turned into this tumultuous bed of chaos which birthed demons from the fire, beings that bore the smouldering essence of the Chaos Flame and were doomed eventually to perish.
You talking about Guild Wars?
The Old King's hammer has survived since Old Izalith and is imbued with remnants of the Chaos Flame. We've talked about the Chaos Flame so much over the years, and in Dark Souls 3 we definitely see when it and demonkind are at their lowest point. Stray demons, Capra demons, Taurus demons, and even hidden centipede demons, they're all dead in this arena.
I see.
And one stray demon we do face out in the world even lacks a trace of
I
flame,
love it.
showing how core this flame is to their survival. So the demon race and the Chaos Flame, it's demonstrably at its lowest point in the series. All of this said, demons are a largely undeveloped part of the lore, and I really do wish that they were designed to be more than just brutish enemies, you know? With the old Demon King though, I liked it at the end of the fight. You might not have noticed, but if you keep him alive at around 10% health, he, in this desperate attempt to fend us off with one final effort, he releases all of his remaining energy. He fails, and then he stays panting on the ground indefinitely, unable even to lift his great hammer, and surrounded by the corpses of his kind, and he's the last piece of his race, just reduced to flimsily batting us away with one hand. That kind of scene where there's no cutscene, there's no break in the gameplay, and it still shows, you know, an emotion, a feeling that it wants to convey, that's good game design, and I feel like it's lost on a lot of people because most people will just finish this guy off in that last 10% of his health, but it's a powerful scene. And finally, the curse-rotted Greatwood, rooted in the Undead Settlement. The Undead Settlement is a home to many undead, and it's full of workers who are dedicated to the dissection and the burial of themselves. Because it makes sense that in this village...
That was a pretty powerful scene when they did that
the primary
with the Demon
task
King.
would end up being, you know, what do we do with all the bodies that keep rising from the grave? There's just this sheer problem of overpopulation, which could never be properly reduced because they never die. And as a result, in this place, you find undead caged together, dissected, hung, and buried, but probably just rising from the dead all the same to begin the process over again. Eventually, teachers from the Cathedral of the Deep came to take advantage of this climate in the undead settlement. The evangelists, all women, came to enlighten inhabitants of the undead settlement and sent carriers on the path to sacrifice, most likely to the Cathedral of the Deep, where they would be consumed by Aldrich as a sacrifice. So, given this, it's no surprise really that
here it
all manner
is.
of curses
Our
managed to
guy.
seep into the undead settlement. For undead
Let's give him a
were
spin.
being dissected, their bones were being ground to dust.
We're gonna do it from this. Is like and we always do the same. Like, and if you follow, if you do all that, you should end up with something like this.
Would become known as the curse-rotted Greatwood. Spirit trees are another really undeveloped part of Souls lore, and they appear mostly in item descriptions from Dark Souls 2. It's really easy to skip any description of a spirit tree. So let's talk about what we know. They're described as magical, sentient, and supposedly possessing divine powers. Two descriptions in particular reference them as appearing in a dream world related to Quella, who is the goddess of dream.
Gotta do a
There was
few
this
turns.
one talking spirit tree
Or the
that
B-roll.
also turned itself into a shield to protect a small, frightened child. I also have a hunch that this green tree that repairs items in Dark Souls 2 in the Sunken Kingdom, I think it could be another type of spirit tree as well. But again, this is just an educated guess. There's not much we know about these creatures. At any rate, the worst of the curses in the undead settlement were sealed away.
Thanks for watching,
inside
everybody.
this spirit tree.
I will
Maybe
see you
it
guys
could
in
be
the next
naturally,
one.
Or maybe the townsfolk
Have a good
hoped
night.
The tree would purify said curses, but eventually, however, The curses took their toll and festered in the belly of the Great Wood.
I'll talk to you guys
Let's
later.
talk about what we
Good night.